Hey, 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 hey. Okay, you're ready to go. I am not. I am. I am. How's everyone doing? Hope you guys are great. Hope we're having a lovely day and doing what we do best, which is be ourselves. Hello. I'm doing pretty darn well at that, if I do say so myself. Okay, perfect. Okay, this is not where I want to be though. So, anywho, okay, wonderful. So, what are we talking about? It would help if I actually said what we were talking about. So, here it is. Can a woman raise a productive and well-adjusted man? Not a boy, a man. Can she raise a man? That's what's going on right here. Okay. Let's get started. If you want to join the live, that's what I need to do. I'm sorry. Thought about it, you. Okay. So, if you want to join the live, let me go ahead and put this in the comment section for you. I am not prepared. And that. Okay. Well, this. Sorry. Okay. Excuse all the typing. Out. All right. Cool. Okay. Let's get this party started, shall we? Are you driving?
Only for a little bit.
Oh, well, I guess there's no lag. I thought there was like a little delay. Guess there's not one of those.
No, I'm only driving for a little bit.
Cool.
Hey.
Hi, where are you headed?
I just left a little pizza spot in Altamont,
Oh,
and
no
it's
free
pretty good.
advertisement. No free advertisement.
Right. You know, it's funny. When I was leaving, I said I was going to get on and say tonight's broadcast was brought to you by XYZ, and I said, nah, they, they, they didn't sponsor us.
Right.
Soon,
Sponsors,
soon.
please. That would be great. That would
Re-
be
let me
freaking great.
let me
Raise a
really really
woman.
soon.
Okay.
I'm trying to let me do this because I'm all right. Is that better?
I don't know. Now you look like you set in a mood. But anywho, it doesn't matter. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
That's better.
That's probably better for Showful Life.
Right. It'll be really good in a little bit.
Oh, so are you ready for today's topic?
I am super ready. This is something as a young black man that is very, very important to me. And
Mhm.
I think I have an interesting outlook on it based on my personal experience. So I think that this is it's going to help the people. Let me see if I can go in and share this. Hold on. Give me one moment. I'm going to go share this because that's the friendly thing about
Yes, please, everyone, share, like, love, subscribe. I'm gonna lotion my hands because these joints is ashy. So we're talking about something that is, I guess, an age-old discussion. I don't know what age-old means, but an age-old discussion in that can a woman
I'm
raise?
back.
Okay, welcome back.
Yeah.
Can a woman raise a boy into a man? And it was I saw a few of these just because. Oh, somebody just came on. I'm so excited. Okay. I'm excited for you too, but I'm so
Right. I
excited.
was going to say,
Hold on.
what am I, chopped liver? I'm just chopped liver, I guess. Well,
No, 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 no. Okay.
it better be Barack Obama with all of that.
Close. Close. It's
Mhm.
Hey!
Fresh from
Chad is
Germany.
in the building.
What's
Right.
going on, fam?
See, look,
Chad,
you're excited
Chad,
as I am. Darn it.
Chad, I am excited. It's better than Barack Obama.
Thank you. Thank
Hey, we
you.
gotta grow, progress, right? Each one, teach one, be better.
Right. So it's an age-old question on can a woman raise a man, and I've watched several shows on this, or several like topics on talks on this, or whatever this may be. And the vast majority says no. Do you agree with just a blanket yes or no? Do you agree with that answer that a woman cannot raise a boy into a productive, well-rounded man into manhood? I guess.
I concur.
I actually disagree. I hate that, Chad. But
I hate that for us,
right,
for our relationship of love.
right.
I disagree as well.
I have my own personal experience that
Hmm.
I kind of go off of. And the number one person I give credit in my life to is my mom, right? So she raised me. She did an excellent job managing three kids, no stable man, right? But what I had to experience and go through to evolve into a man, because it was not a quick transition. Adolescence was difficult, young adulthood was difficult, adulthood was difficult, and then mature adulthood was finally when I could look at myself in the mirror and be like, you are a man. Ain't nobody making you that. You became this. And the life lessons that I had to learn were hard. And my mom had no interjection, right? It was
But what life
shout,
lessons? Like,
getting
of course, you
arrested the
have to.
first time at 9 years old.
I'm sorry.
Getting arrested the first time at 9 years old for shoplifting. Getting arrested the second time at 12 years old for shoplifting. Um, dabbling into, I'll just say, um, illegal substances when I knew better, but never being really reprimanded or guided after this incident, right? My mom just showered me with love and acceptance. And from a un um, unnurtured young man's perspective,
Hmm.
it was like constantly putting my hand on a hot stove and no one telling me like, you shouldn't do that. Here's some corrective action, right? I never got that.
Right.
It was
But
only until I had some older male, um, I won't call them mentors, but influences that I could see their behaviors and learn from their mistakes and start making some better choices proactively for myself. Because the women in my life were just very much loving nurturers and not
no, we didn't grow up like that now.
disciplinaries, right? I was whooped until I was 8. And then there was this one magical day
That's it.
when my brother, he caught the belt midair, was like, "You're not gonna beat us anymore." And I said, "Shit, is it over? is, it, is the era of whoopings over?" And it was. That was the last day. But again, a male, interceded and gave some kind of new direction. Never got
Okay.
it from my mom.
But is that necessarily not being able to raise a boy into adulthood or into a manhood if he's he's shoplifting, not shop, it's not quotation because that's what happened. If you're shoplifting and she doesn't reprimand you, like would she have done the same if it were your sister? Would she have done the same if it were your cousin? Like,
Oh no,
I
if it
don't.
was a female in the family, best believe every one of my female cousins got quick responses to the things that they did and almost got embarrassed by it. And although maybe not the way I would have handled it, they learned, they got the feedback. They learned from those lessons because of the shame. Not shaming me. I
Mhm.
hate using that word, but not shaming me made me not really realize how bad it was until I found faith, right? And then, oh, suddenly there's some order and some expectations to how I should act and behave and conduct myself, because I feel like an individual, but I represent more than just me, and it took a long time to find that.
I gotta go back though. You said and this is off topic, sort of, kind of in a way. You
Hmm.
said your last one was at 8.
First was at 8, 9 years old.
When was your last?
Shoplifting
No, no,
arrest.
no, 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 no. Whoopings, like spanking.
Oh, 8 years old. That was at 8 years old.
We
Yep.
did not grow up in the same house. We are not related. Just this is confirmation because the females in my family, my last whooping was at 17.
So we didn't. So I was born in Brooklyn, but grew up in Montreal, Quebec. So
My last whooping was at 17.
when I got my whoopings is when we spent the summers in Brooklyn and they didn't play. But
I was going to say though, Canada is famous for make sure you treat children right. Like I never forget, and this is kind of off topic but on topic. I never forget when I had a Canadian friend. He was a Canadian Jamaican, and when George Zimmerman shot and killed Trayvon Martin, he said in Canada the outrage had nothing to do with black or white. It was you shot a kid.
mm,
You know what I mean? You you shot a child, who was unarmed. And so I think that Canadians are famous for being super duper nice and very low on being confrontational. When is the last time you heard that Canada started an international conflict? So
Or
that
got
may be
involved in one.
right, right. So that may be a cultural thing. Um,
I think
I
it was culture, but it was also the times. So big family. I'm probably right in the middle of all my cousins. Prior to that grabbing of the belt, they was getting whooped till they were 17. Till you walking out the
So,
door, you gonna catch the belt.
yo,
Uh,
catching a belt. I think my mom
unheard
would have
of.
been.
Unheard
I
of.
think my mom would have did a dope job of raising a boy into a man. Catching a belt is you might as well say hello, Jesus.
That was usually, this is the thing. This was the shock. Like I remember being in the basement and just I could paint the whole scene of when it happened. And my stepbrother, who was white, didn't see a big significance there. Like, oh, well, finally you're not getting whooped anymore. It's like, what? You lucky you ain't never been whooped. And his lack of discipline showed in his life circumstances.
Hmm.
Whippings, I think, are healthy. I mean, it's not appreciated nowadays because everybody want to be um, somebody else's parent, but you have to discipline your children. If not
Agreed.
in a clear verbal way, in a respectful and tactful.
Domineering way.
Yeah, I mean,
Dominant, a way of dominance, like
sure,
exerting
you
your
got to put them in
dominance.
place because these kids don't have no sense now. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to respect authority because they think that they're bigger than these elders,
They have
and
no consequences.
they don't get no consequences. Teachers
Right.
are
So that's the
terrified.
government's fault.
right,
Man, whatever that means. Oh, go ahead. You want to say something?
because right, I am man.
You're
So
literal.
I have a different experience than Chad. Obviously, my mother, my biological mother, passed away when I was 8. My brother was 10, and my mom had 8 sisters. She didn't have any brothers. It was 9 girls, no boys, and they mainly one of my aunts who did the primary rearing for us. They beat our butt. But not only that, they taught us. I remember my aunts teaching us how to iron, how to cook, how to sew, because they were just very aware that the women born in the mid to late 80s, early 90s were not going to have these life skills or not rate them very highly. So they always said, we're going to make sure that you don't need a woman. But in turn, it has made me a better man.
Mm.
I think because I used to agree when folks say, "Well, a woman can't raise a man, but she can just raise a real strong woman." But no, it literally that's the argument. The argument is she can't really raise a man, but she can make him a strong woman. He can
Hmm.
be strong in society. But I disagree. They taught me how to take care of my home. They taught me, and now I'm in an era where I'm a high value man. I work. I cook. I'm very caring. This, that, another. And I had to reconcile that. Now, my dad was around.
Hmm.
I'm blessed. I know my
You
dad.
did have male influence.
All right, I did have male influence, but and this is not to bash my father. My dad died when my mom died. Something in him clicked off when she died. My dad paid bills. He came home. He didn't talk to us much. We didn't go places. He didn't teach me a lot of things, but he was there. He was bitter, I think, about losing his wife. He was 34.
I'm sorry, she was 37 and he was 41, and he has a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old child, and so he was bitter. But my aunts, he trusted them while he was going through whatever to raise me, and I think they did a pretty good job of raising a man. um
You changed my perspective a little bit because my initial response to the question as it's brewing up was actually not, I think, genuine to myself, but taking in the perspective of what is a man, right? Now, after hearing your perspective, I was gifted with a lot of those gems. Taught how to sew, taught how to cook, taught how to care, taught how to listen, taught how to be patient and not lose. Like I was taught the ramifications of going off the handle and how that is not a way that a woman really responds. So with all those gems I got as a kid, sure, I was able to do things, but I didn't know the value of it until I was in my adulthood. And suddenly I was more mature as a man than most of my peers
right.
because they had a machismo or a very just
Masculine.
masculine, but
Oh,
also
totally.
egocentric kind of
Okay.
perspective, right? Like I'm, I am man. Okay,
Hmm.
what else you got?
Right.
So with that, I do give my mom tremendous credit for giving me a lot of soft skills and things that do have value as a man, but aren't valued very high if you were to write out a scale of what should a man be? Strong, commanding. I found my way around those things, and still, I feel I'm in a really high valued position. And yeah, I'm elated with how it turned out.
So you both, well, um, Gerard, you had male and female influence because if you stepped out of line, your aunt could always be like, "Look, get your son," type of situation.
Mm.
Chad, did you have any? But when you were growing up, like any, when did you officially get male influence? I'm sorry, real quick. Everyone say hi to Jay.
Hey
She jumped
Jay,
on the computer,
Hey Jay, what's going
and I
I
on?
had to
thought that was a digital bird. That's a
and I had
real
to grab
bird.
her off. Yes, and I had to grab her off, and now she, yeah.
That's a
You
When
real
want to
did
bird.
I
come on?
get a real
Anyway.
male influence?
Hmm.
So even though I had a stepfather since I was 5, never at any point was he a father figure. I somehow just knew him as my stepdad. He has his
Oh,
own son. We live together.
I
Uh,
understand that.
it wasn't until 1996 when I moved to Florida and I started going to First Baptist Church of Castleberry, and
Okay.
I
Nice.
started seeing um, just men that I thought were really good guys, like good character, good way of carrying themselves. Um, and I started to be able to look up to people. Before that, I had zero interest in looking up to any male. Male, always female influences.
Okay. So once you got that male influence, like what was the first thing? No, stop. What was the first thing you were searching for them from them?
I think it was uh, a, attention and affection. So not, I didn't grow up in a very affectionate household, right? So I could count the amount of times my mom said, "I love you." She's just not soft like that. But then when I saw
Right.
these
Say it.
guys able to hug people and no groping or anything, just like genuine, like, "Hey, I care for you." Having a bigger stature and like taking care of someone smaller than them, I thought that that was just such a beautiful thing. And I was like, man, I want somebody to care down for me. Um,
So wait, your mom was affectionate. I mean, your mom was not affectionate,
zero affectionate. Like
but they
even
were, but they didn't reprimand you for poor
mm-mm,
behavior.
Nope. And I was the youngest of three, so my brother got reprimanded. My
Oh,
sister
you're the
got
baby. Yeah, you
reprimanded.
don't. Yeah.
So I got a pass on way too much stuff. Um, so I got really good at lying also. So it was just a lack of discipline made me not really understand what it took to be responsible and accountable for my own actions.
I,
Until I had some legal adult ramifications, and I was like,
Let me figure this out.
I gotta figure this out.
You're gonna say something?
I was gonna say something. I think if we could rewind a little bit. Yeah. I think let's define for this conversation
Mm-hmm.
what we consider a man.
I was gonna say that. What should a man be? What
Eh,
is a man?
right, and not anatomy. I don't want to get into binary terms and things of that nature. But I mean the social norm of the responsibility, the weight, the gender role of a man. Because you said something, Brandon, kind of offended me a little bit. You said with my aunts, they had male help. And again, I have a great dad, but I honestly don't remember in my lifetime him being someone who reared or raised me. He worked. He bought shoes. He gave money. He sent me to church with them. I was at the house watching TV in a room somewhere, and he was around. I would ask him, could I go out to eat? I mean, or go outside to play or something like that. But I don't remember my dad saying, save money. I don't remember him saying, watch your spending. I don't remember him saying, eat your. I don't remember that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
now, so I have to believe that even though my dad was there and he was present, meaning I saw him. I mean, I saw him. I knew he paid bills. He fed me.
Right.
I don't think that alone is raising a man.
Okay, so let me clarify what I said, because although I don't care that I offended you, being offended sometimes is okay. It's
Right.
okay. It's necessary. But what I'm saying is, if you were causing major issue,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't do that. If you were causing major issue, your aunts could always, at any point, be like, Cliff, get your son, as opposed to
I love the fact that you use Cliff. I don't care what they say about Bill Cosby. Best dad ever in life.
after my dad.
Okay.
So, and if you know my dad, you know I'm right. Anywho, so as opposed to someone who dad isn't there, um, let's just go to the extreme and say it's a lady who's an only child. She's has a child. She has her kids, no uncles to go to, no brothers to go to. It's just her, and she there's no reference for her to go to, like get your son or help get this boy or whatever the case may be. Like for example, my sister with Jaden,
Right.
right?
Right.
Although my father's there, she couldn't say,
Get your
hey,
son. I
you
get it.
get your
Get
son
your son. Right. I get that.
from like the next room. Because
Right.
I'm assuming you lived with your father.
I did live with my father for a time, and then I eventually was full time with my aunts. But still, my dad was around.
Right.
Yeah. If things got bad enough, maybe if I was like Chad at 8 or 9 and had that
Right.
brush up with the law, my dad definitely would have been involved in that. So okay,
Oh,
I can concede that point.
my daddy and my mama would have got on nats.
I got rewarded.
You brought snacks to the family?
No, I got. They actually put me in handcuffs, which was really shocking, right?
At 9. Let me ask you this about your reward comment. For you to now be at the age you're at and to see the maybe improper or inappropriateness or improperness, I don't know if that's a word, for you to in hindsight say that was kind of jacked up. Let's walk through that evolution, Because one thing about being a man is accountability, admitting when you're wrong, accepting that you need discipline. What what's happened, or where did that come from? Where you could see that now as a man, and say, because somebody had to give that to you, or was that organically derived from your own intuitions?
I gotta think about that for a second.
Okay, think about that. While you think about that, let's go back to defining what Senora de Like Mine said. What makes a man? Like what, like define a man, gender roles. We know the biology of what makes a man, but like
The first word that comes to mind, which I feel is hard to contest, is that a man should be prepared to be a protector. Maybe not physically, right? But
mhm,
in the event that you can vocally stand up for someone and protect their integrity, protect them from being demeaned in any way, I think that it is not just a man's, but by default, a man's job to intercede and stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves.
I was going to say leader. Not that a woman is not capable of leading, but I think that a man is a leader. And I think what makes it, that the example that Chad gave, when you boil things down to the lowest common denominator, that's when you get whatever it is. You know what I mean? You can't get away from that. And when I think of it, even though we're in a world where we're talking about women's rights and equal rights, I don't care the greatest feminist you know. If her and I are walking down the street and a 6'2", 225-pound guy jumps out from bushes, she's gonna look at me to take the lead there. 1000%. I don't care if she
right.
has on a shirt that says women have nuts too. She's gonna look to me. Right, right. A little extreme there.
I kind of want that shirt now, but
Right. She's gonna look to me
for
to defend her in that moment. Even if she just told me at the restaurant, I can get my own door, I
I
can
hate
pay my
that.
own tab.
I hate that.
Even if she does that, if somebody jumps out of the, she's gonna look to me.
No, she's not gonna look at you. She's gonna push you at them.
Right,
At least I
right,
will.
right,
Like
right.
save myself.
In that goes back to Chad saying a protector, but I think to boil it down is the leader, to lead in the most basic needs. If you drop a man and a woman off in the desert, or on an island that is deserted, I think that man, if what are we going to eat, he's going to be the one going into the bushes where the growls are to try to find dinner. You know what I mean? So I think that deals with protector and provision, provider. But at the root of all of that is the natural leader, which means that he must have a moral compass. He must have righteous, not biblical righteous, but righteous in doing what's right.
I like the moral compass, so I want to add that to the list. A real man, and I'll say a strong man, because we're getting away from just biology, like what makes a man. A good moral compass is vital, because even in a room of 100 men, the real men will surface.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
he will.
that's
Ooh,
good.
ooh.
That's good.
I'm gonna
And they
add
have
to
a
it.
strong moral compass that is hard to refute.
That's good.
I'm gonna say provider in the sense that it don't peck my computer. In the sense that
See that belt? Get
I'm
the
sorry,
belt.
she about to get it.
Right.
In the sense that it will help. And this is something I've set up on this show before. My dad is always like, I feel sorry for y'all. These men are lazy. These men, they just. But being a provider means you work. You
Yeah.
have to work. You
Yeah.
have to get your hands dirty. You have to do something to take care of what you have or what is brought into your life. So I'm gonna say provider is one of those gender roles or what maketh a man?
Hmm.
So let's talk about that
Talk about it.
for just a moment. So there's a misconception, and I know someone who's going through this right now. There's a misconception that men are to be sole providers for their home. We hear it's a man's job to do it, even if a woman can't do it. It's his job to do it, and that's a Iranian teaching. That's not even a biblical teaching, because the now it's and I ain't gonna get into the Bible here, but it's an Iranian teaching. If you're not with a woman who I mean, if you're not with a man who makes close to six figures, if not six figures, he's not able to pull the weight
See,
today that most people want to be accustomed to. I wouldn't raise my son. I'm not raising my son. I have an 8-year-old son. I'm not raising my son to be taken care of by a woman, but I'm also not raising my son to kill himself to give a woman a lifestyle that she won't help you to build.
okay,
Go ahead.
I'm going to add to what maketh a man. Understanding the value of a female. That maketh a man. Because if they make
Are you still single?
30,000,
Are you still single?
unfortunately, for some strange reason,
Because that was kind of that
Billy
was
Dad.
shut up.
that was kind. I like intellectual girl. Go ahead.
Because if a man is making, let's say, $40,000 a year,
Uh-huh.
if he's with a chick that doesn't understand how to manipulate and
Come on,
master a world around $40,000,
come
they
on,
got the
sister.
wrong one.
Come on, sister.
Because we can survive for $40,000 if I'm not going shopping every day, if
Come
Mm.
on,
I'm not
sister.
buying lobster and crab and whatever the most expensive steak is, filet mignon, because I don't know, I don't eat it. So he needs to understand the value of women and what a good woman will bring to a relationship.
I can dig that.
I can dig it.
Yeah, I
Not
can dig that.
easy though. So not easy to
No,
discern,
Right.
and you do have to be a certain kind of mature to really be able to see through the leaves and really identify a high
Can
value woman.
Let me ask you this: can a man teach that for a man, or is that something a woman has to teach?
I believe a woman can teach that, because if anybody knows women like we know women. That's why I
Hmm.
tell everybody, if you have an issue with a female, let me meet her. Let me talk to her. I tell you exactly what's wrong with her. However, like for my dad, for example, I think my dad can teach any man about women.
Are you biased because that's your dad?
I'm not. It's because my daddy was a sharpshooter in his day.
Yeah.
No
So, and
pun
plus I
intended.
go to him for advice about dudes. So it's like, if I feel like a man can teach it, a woman will refine it. And
Oh,
that's
that's
why I
good.
say a woman can raise a man, a boy into a man. It's gonna take, like, it's innate. As a woman, it's innate. Some of the things you do. This is what women do. Period. As a man, it's not necessarily learned behavior. It's just that's how your mind is programmed. So
Hmm.
it will take someone in the world, even if he just saw Barack Obama on TV and he's like, oh, so that's how a man walks, or that's how whatever. It'll take another man to refine what the woman has created.
Which is sort of kind of what Chad alluded to earlier, that
Mhm.
he evolved into what
Right.
what what a man is. So
I have an answer to your earlier asked question.
Which one is
okay.
this one? Which one?
It was what was kind of the
Oh,
moment of truth that
Right.
helped me to understand or learn that lesson.
hmm.
So arrested the first time, They put me in cuffs, and I was like, "This is crazy, cuffs! I'm a child." And they put me in the paddy wagon and actually took me
Not
to the
okay.
station, which was right around the corner. But I was distraught, and the cops, while waiting for my parents to show up, my mom and stepfather, they were giving me comic books. Which one do you want? Spider-Man, Flash? Yeah, I want both of them. Okay. I left there with like 5 comic books. And when my mom picked me up, she was just ready to pick me up and take me home. And when we got home, who got in trouble? My older brother. You're a bad influence. Look what you're making him do. He had nothing to do with it. I stormed out of the house because my mom was having an argument with my stepfather and I wasn't getting attention. So I left and went shoplifting. Never stole anything in my life. When I got arrested the second time at 12, this is funny because I didn't remember this until you told me this. It was me and my 2 buddies. Neither one of them stole. I was the one stealing. And then when we got caught, I was like, who's going to talk? Who's going to talk? And they were like, you did it, bro. You better say something. So I finally confessed, right? And then when my mom came, she was crying. My mom never cries. And that hurt me that I hurt her. And I finally understood that like my actions hurt other people.
Mm-hmm.
A mom's cry. A mom's cry will.
It broke
It
me.
changes the game.
I was like, I don't know what I know what I did. I don't know why I did it. And I now understand that not even the shoplifting part, but if you do something that hurts people that love you, check your moral compass. You're wrong. So at that point, I learned that lesson and we moved to Florida that summer. And then I was,
Get you away from them influences.
oh no, we was broke. We was broke. We moved for new, greener pastures. And then I started going to church, and it was almost, I would say, divine intervention, right? That I'm gonna let you go through this, but your next chapter is going to be very different. So it took me seeing someone in pain to realize that what I was doing was wrong and hurtful.
So God raised the man. Okay.
I'll give him that credit for sure.
So I said, oh, baby me, I'll baby you. What? No clue what that means.
I know what it means.
Who wants to explain it?
Baby me, I'll baby you is like, take care of me in that certain way, and I'll take care of you in that certain way.
What they got to do with raising a man?
I think that is interesting though, because there is an argument. I think K. Michelle had a song that said, "You can't raise a man." There are a lot of women.
Song.
There are a lot of women who get men who were not raised in home, and a woman has to raise them, and it's not a mother to father relationship. It really is a filio relationship. No, not filio, eros relationship, where it's a relation. A girlfriend is raising a man.
Okay. You want to explain? Yeah, I guess is Chad right? Is Jay right?
Yeah, I think it's baby. I think it's okay to have those moments, those places where you're not fully grown, no matter what the play, no matter what it is, or what section it is in life. So I don't think that I could start from nothing. Like you have to be a man in some portions, but because there's some places that I need to grow up in.
Wait, what topic are you on?
I don't know. Maybe I'm way off. I said, can a woman raise a productive man? Right. I think I'm on the right topic.
Am I the only one that's lost? Somebody help me find
No,
me.
no. I think what she's saying is, let's say she gets a man who's underraised, but he's raising some things. She's saying, yes, a woman can raise a man, even if it's me raising my boyfriend or my husband, that I could do that.
Right. You still lost?
But it's about okay, so I need to change that. Can a mom raise her son to be a productive, well-adjusted
Oh,
man?
I was all the way off. Oh, yeah,
Let me change that because
I was off. I read K Michelle. I heard K Michelle. That's what I read when I heard that. I mean that's what I heard when I read it. I heard K Michelle. Okay,
Right. She get on
let me
talking,
change
and here's me, mama.
that part.
okay, because I'm sorry, I'm back. Yeah, I was so confused. Like, wait a minute. I don't want to rate. I love that song about K Michelle because I dated a guy and he had both parents in his life, and that was he's mm, bless him. So back to the topic.
I gotta get a ring light because this is actually making me look real snackish.
Is it a candy corn?
What?
Nobody likes candy corn.
Uh,
Right.
So I feel like they gave her no choice, and that's why it's under my thing. And I guess I can only speak from the black female perspective. They've given black women no choice but to raise a man. So, and it's a man based on how society is treating these black boys. And when Chad mentioned what was it? The vocal, something about vocal. Okay, vocality, standing up. He has to be a protector and stand up vocally.
Mm.
If a black woman can't teach a boy how to do that, I don't know who can. Because black women will step up in the most crazy of situations to protect.
True, but the way that they communicate and
Right.
right.
proceed is way different.
I was just gonna say,
A woman's energy when she's coming at you, she don't need to raise her hands. You better recognize men
but
have this. I like there's so much anger built up, it doesn't translate through their words, and then they lose control. Right? I'm gonna
right.
close this, and that is not effective always. Right? There's always a bigger guy. Um, so that's it. That's interesting because I can't even think of, at least within my family, a scenario where, oh, my aunt, she's hard, like you don't mess with her, right? And that translated to their son. It it
It,
doesn't.
it usually is opposite. Because I have a cousin who he tells everyone, my mom taught me how to fight because her way of disciplining this son,
See,
she wanted to make sure that he wasn't soft, and she also wanted to make sure that he didn't try her. So she overdid it, and it literally caused him to be something different to where he struggled in relationships because he associates a woman being emotional, which they are, or a woman being loud, or a woman being aggressive. It takes him to a traumatic place and he shuts down, and it's bad. I think even if a man tried to learn how to get in there, get in someone's face, like Brandy alluded to, if he did that like a woman, it would be a problem for the woman he's standing there with. Like women handle differences at a counter when the food is messed up. If I'm talking to the counter and I'm like, and period, and you better get this, you bet, it just comes off kind of weird. Most men are more logical, and I agree their response may be angry because I've been in places where I was in a movie one time with a girl, and we had a neighbor in the movie theater who I got so angry to protect, but I wasn't like an aggressive woman. I was a man. And that's scary sometimes for women. But I think if a man is going off like a woman goes off, is that really the sign that he's a man? Because he can get saucy or speak up?
not if he's
I,
going off and being zesty. I'm sorry,
Zesty.
Chad Ashley. Before I say mine,
Zesty.
okay. Well, not if he's being zesty, but you can step up.
But let's focus on the zesty type. Have you ever seen that be effective for a man to do that? Oh, you coming at me? You like that's a
Right.
clown. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
come on now, you gotta relax, bro. Like what you gonna do?
Right.
It just doesn't translate.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that he can mimic the mimic the actions, but the mental processing is what's the issue. Because I have learned women do not think like men in no way, and you cannot teach a man. You cannot teach a being that you can identify with. You can give them basics and certain guidelines, but you can't in that situation. A man doesn't look at it the same way. So I think that I don't feel like a woman can fully raise a man. I feel like he has to have male interaction to 100% to fully get there.
How long have you been doing these broadcasts, Brandy? I think this is the first time in history that you and Ashley actually disagreed, and I'm excited about it.
We've
Uh,
disagreed before. Calm your nerves. We've disagreed before, and
Uh,
we've disagreed before.
can
Anyway,
I ask a question?
why not?
Ashley says something that was interesting, and I thought about it. You never hear this conversation about can a man raise a woman? There are a lot of single dads raising women.
We're
If
gonna talk
it's
about that.
okay, because I'm going to say I feel like with the help of a woman, uh, I think a woman can raise a man. I think a woman can raise a man.
I think it is much more difficult. I think, like I said, I agree. A woman can raise a man, but she needs to stop trying to get a present on Mother's Day and Father's Day. Chill out. You're a mom. I think it is much more difficult for a man to raise a daughter than it is for a man to raise a woman than it is for a woman to raise a man.
Nope, I disagree.
Me too.
I disagree, but I also have
Well,
an
all of you can
admiration
get
for
off
women.
and no.
I have this admiration for women that their process of growing up and blossoming is almost organic.
Natural, right?
You can't
Right.
really, you might see a reckless 12, 13, 14-year-old girl, but she'll figure it out.
Thank you, Kim.
Who is that? Let me go look and see who that is agreeing with you all tonight. Somebody,
Christina,
Facebook user
thank you.
anonymous.
right? Let me go look and see who that is.
But exactly, a lot of things are innate. So I'll liken it to this. They have no influence. The mom has no male influence. The dad has no female influence. Teaching the boy to pee and teaching the girl to change a pad. It's gonna be. I feel like men are gonna be more apprehensive to do that. No, Ashley shook her head. Oh no, we're disagreeing.
I disagree with that. I think no, I think that he would. I don't. I think that when he's put in that position, if he has no one else, he'll man up. I mean, that's where the term comes from. He'll man up and get it. He'll figure, get that done. I think peeing versus changing the pad are two different things.
Right, but what I
Especially
mean, what comparatively, what can you compare changing the pad to, or like your period, all that stuff too?
But I think that guy has obviously messed with a woman in order to have that child. So he understands how that works. Like he understands what that would look
Okay.
like. But I
Okay.
feel like
I think there is a parallel I could think about. So if I think about a woman
Agreed.
getting her period and having to get pads and learn her cycle and all that, I would parallel that to teaching an adolescent boy about hygiene.
Period.
Period. Deodorant is not an option. You have to do it. You need to wash appropriately. Stop playing with your ding-a-ling and then shaking hands. Like, there's I don't want to call it etiquette because I'm going to stay on the hygiene aspect. It's teaching proper hygiene. And
So
I
you
think
think
that a man will clearly be able to communicate. Don't be having no stinky dinky going around, bro. You need to take care of yourself. And a woman will very, I think, comfortably communicate the necessity of managing their cycle and, how to go about that. And you guys have a community, though. So every woman I've ever known to have their period, they have friends who are either close to respond or an elder influence who will cater them through the process.
And I
Let-
don't
so
remember
you
my
think
mom. I don't remember my mom saying this is what you do. It was more here that you need to wear this during this time. And it was kind of for me, it was more trial and error. I mean, she gave the very basics. You every time you use the bathroom, change it. I mean, maybe I don't even know if she said that much, but very, very basic. And I feel like a dad would do the same thing. I feel like a girl raised by a man, she'll have a different mindset. Like he'll teach her to think like he does. And I feel like the male's thinking process is more effective in relationships and just getting through life. So I think she'll be ahead of the game.
I, I, I was going to say something similar to Ashley. I think if getting a period is the weightiest thing that a man has to overcome with raising a woman, he'll raise 100 women to be great women, because I I don't. It is a woman issue, but not bleeding in on your clothes is a human issue. Because if a dude got a cut on his shoulder, guess what the dad would do? This is a band-aid that stops the bleeding. I mean, I think
let me show you how to apply this
right,
band-aid. I'll
right. Let
apply
me
it
show.
for you.
Let me show you. Let me. But I think a woman, for example, if a woman does nothing else, she doesn't become a hardened man, even if the father is lackadaisical in teaching her how to be a woman. At the end of the day, she's biologically just going to be a woman. Uh-oh.
So why can't okay, two things, three things.
Oh, hold on.
So
Go ahead.
the first thing is hygiene. You think it's easier? I mean, it's harder to teach a boy hygiene and how to wipe and where to wipe than it is a female,
I
because not
do.
to be like too detail oriented, but y'all are surface washing. We have to wash between valleys and peaks, you know what I'm saying?
No, I
Like
think you're
we have to know.
underestimating the laziness of some of these boys, many of them. I mean, it goes
We
all the way up to senior year in high school where I'm on the football, or junior year in high school, we're on the football team, and it's like, dang, like who
right,
smells like that?
but
Like,
you have females that smell like that. I know some little girls that need some gosh darn deodorant at the
mm,
age of 5. Put some deodorant. It's not an option. It is officially mandatory that you wear deodorant. I think because y'all have to wipe between y'all butts, we do too. You have to wipe under your armpits, we do too. But women have to wipe a little extra. Have to do a little extra
but
in
we
cleaning.
we don't know how bad it is until a partner tells us how bad it is, because guys will be stinky between the age of 12 and 17, probably not showering regularly, probably not, um, probably never used a bidet or a wet wipe. Mm,
We did.
pro-
I didn't use
probably,
a bidet or a wet wipe when I was younger. Like who?
but you were going through the creases and the valleys. You had a process. Um,
Right.
Men
I mean,
aren't.
I don't think we can hold him not being able to raise a daughter on that one thing. Like we
Mhm.
get caught up on that one thing. They will figure that out, just like they did in the doggone Stone Ages. This is nothing new.
And what?
The Stone Ages, like you figure that out.
All
I
right,
don't think that that's gonna stop him from being a great dad because he has
It's
to
not stopping him from being a great dad.
She's
Well,
talking about raising.
I don't think it makes it that much harder either because he has to overcome that hurdle when she turns 13 or whatever age it comes.
You know who that is, Jay?
Do I? Do I? Old nurse,
Hey,
old nurse G, old nurse G spot. But
No,
listen, what I was gonna say before I got my phone call, my text, it kind of threw me off. What I was gonna say was, if a man is raising a woman alone, at the end of the day, he'll raise a woman, like Ashley said, that thinks like a man. But a
Right.
woman, but a man that's not raised properly is not just a man that thinks like a woman. A man who thinks like a woman is not a man. There's a difference.
And also to add to that, and also to add to that, a woman that raises a man, he won't necessarily think like a woman.
Correct.
He's more likely to not think like a, well, not more likely, but he won't be thinking like a woman
he won't
because
be in
this
tune.
woman is teaching him how to, as best she can, how to think like a man, how to be a man. A
I
dad is
think
like, here, put these sweats on, let's go.
I think that to Jay's point or man's point that a man raised by a woman, I think he'll struggle more in his thoughts because he's taught to do it this way, but that's not how he's processing it internally. Versus a woman, she will still lead with emotion, but she'll have more critical thinking, more logic, and so it'll be a good balance for her. I think that certain things are taught in a man because they react a certain way, and it's like, okay, how do you put these things in compartments? Like, how do you, like, the whole thing, that's not something to cry about, or this is what, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I feel like I agree with Jay on that one. A guy will process more on a woman's side if he's taught by a woman. He's
Mhm.
gonna try to look at it. Okay, my mom reacted like this, even though I don't feel this way about it, but this is how I'm supposed to react.
I agree with that. I think when you think about it, like there are certain things that happen naturally because guys are, if I may try to be the Ashley whisperer tonight, we always talk about how men are logical and women are emotional. What we
Mhm.
really say when a woman is emotional is she is following the natural feeling and progression of her emotions.
Right.
Logic is not something that is innate. uh, 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 Emotions are. So if a woman is led by emotions, even with a dad that's there, if she's led by woman emotions, she'll fall on the woman's side of thinking and acting. With a guy, because it's logic, logic can only be walked out with reason and information. That's why if a man is lacking the information on how a man should act and the reasons why he has to do it because he's a man, he will be in a much dire position if he does not have that rearing. I agree with that 100%.
Oh wow, not 1,000. Wow, something's going on here. Um,
You
so
know me.
that's why I feel like, and I'll repeat what I said: a woman can raise a man, but it's going to take fine tuning.
At what age are we fine tuning? Like I get 18. My
Right.
sons, I, I
You,
I I get 18. Mom has raised me, and at what age am fine tuned?
oh man, I'm sorry.
Chad talked about his first account with the police.
Hmm.
Most women are 30, 40 years old before they get their first ticket. And and it literally
Where did you
it
get that statistics from?
it blows their mind when they
Where
get
did you
one.
get that from?
He just made it up because mom was nowhere near 30.
Yeah. So let's talk about a black man. When a black woman is stopped by the police, she gives her this, that, and other. Maybe she's nervous because she's at the police, but not, well, maybe before Breonna Taylor and all this. Black women don't get stopped by the police and
Ginger
think
Bland.
this is gonna end in death, right? A black man, though, he's always aware that he is the enemy of the system at all times. I don't know if black women feel like that or not, But only a man.
1000%. I disagree with that because if we're in a car with a black man, we're very aware. We're like, okay, you need to be quiet. Like we know we have the same amount of fear, not for ourselves, but for you. So we can translate that to our sons. I disagree on that part because I see a black man. I remember I saw a black man selling watermelons last year, and I pray for him, like, Lord, keep that man, protect him, because we're aware of that struggle for black men, and that is not the same for us. So that's something that we definitely can pass down for sure.
Mhm.
You mean in raising a man or raising a boy into raising a black boy?
Right. But I feel like this is me. So y'all don't come at me.
I'm
I
coming.
feel like a woman raising a man is equivalent to a white woman trying to raise a black little girl.
No.
I do.
No.
I
No,
do.
not at all.
I feel,
Really?
You think
yeah.
that it is impossible?
It's not impossible,
You
but
think it's
she will need some help. Because I remember being in Publix, there was a little girl, her hair was just really horrible, and I just felt so bad for her. And I said, hey, I can do her hair, And it's like, how do you say that? So I had to get the nerve, get the courage, but I did it for the girl.
Right.
I understand the mom might be offended, but I did it for her. And I think that that's the same in raising a black boy. You have to have influence at every stage of his life, not just when he's 17, but at every stage of his life. Who said that?
Because she
That's my truth, and I'm gonna stand in that. I think that woman needs help every stage in his life, and that there should be a man present and pouring into him in some kind of way.
you concur with what, Danielle? What do you concur with? Let's see, remove them.
This is a interesting one because I think every walk is a little different. But I was 19 years old when I first got advice to wear contraceptive. First time. And it was given by my uncle. I was on my way for a business trip, and he's sitting there on the porch with my other uncle, and he's like, make sure you pack your tuxedo. I was like, I don't own a tuxedo. And they looked at each other like, no, your tuxedo, man. You got to wear a tuxedo. Apparently, there's a condom brand called Tuxedo, and he was trying to tell me to bring protection in case I am going to be chasing some dalliances. Okay, advice heeded, but there was already some danger the years before, with no words from my mother that said, you got to watch out for some of these girls. They kind of fast. Don't get caught up with this. STDs exist. Like, not just getting a girl pregnant, but like, you got to protect yourself. That never came from a female.
It never came from a female for me. Well, I don't recall my mom, and she can tell me if I'm wrong. I don't recall my mom talking about giving us a sex talk. I don't recall.
Was the culture wait till marriage? Was that the advice?
Wait till marriage, sure. But the only thing I remember being told was by my dad. And what I believe I remember him saying was, if you don't get pregnant, I'll buy you a car. That's it.
But you won one. Did you win a car in high school?
First of all, yes. But I bought a car while I was in high school. But that's it. Like,
to be clear, she won a $100,000 car.
She won a Hummer.
Right. Let's be clear on that. And then she went on The Price is Right and won 2 more. Just want to say that.
God blessed.
But anywho, and then she won me as a baby sister back in '85.
I tried to give that prize back.
But I think that first off, Danielle is very harsh in these comments. But anywho, very harsh in these comments. I compared it.
of their hair,
But
of their what they're gonna deal with. Go ahead.
I feel like it's similar to me. But anyway, but I feel like I feel like my mama did have a talk. And she did say in a roundabout way to use protection. And she used a cousin of mine that was engaging in those activities. And she said, I bet she's smart enough to use protection. That was her roundabout way to say you need to do that if you're doing it or gonna do it. And our mama was very, for me, she was very open with it. When I brought it to her saying, hey, this is what I want to do. And I mean, her first comment was, so you want to go to hell? I said, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And so she was like, well, no, that's what you said. And then she had a real conversation with me about it. But no, I think she actually gave me the boost to do it unknowingly. Because some of the stuff she said, I would never say to my child because she thought she was hindering me, but it didn't. It wasn't. So anywho,
Poor lady tried to raise you. She didn't know she had a fast child.
She was
And
giving you
I'll
guidance.
say this. I'll say this. I'm telling mom. Anyway, I'm gonna say this. A thing that my parents did well, amongst many, is they knew each of us individually. So maybe that conversation wasn't necessary for me.
Because you weren't fast, right?
Thank you.
I
No,
was just open and honest.
I wasn't thinking about sex.
Definitely open. I agree.
You know what?
First of all, you ain't gonna. First of all, sir.
You know what? I was extra grown, and I was just open and honest. I feel like my mom had a good line of communication with us, and she said you can say whatever you want as long as you're not yelling or cursing.
Be respectful.
You can say whatever you want, and we'll have a conversation. I actually utilized what she said.
I mean that stuff never didn't cross my mind at all.
So
I wasn't thinking about sex in high school or
nobody.
early.
Why you had to date it? Nobody said
I'm
nothing
saying
about high
early
school.
college.
Nobody said nothing about high
You
school.
let me finish. I wasn't thinking about boy.
I knew you was a
Yeah.
saint, Brenda. I knew you was a saint when I met you.
I was a tomboy to be.
Ain't nobody
legit.
said nothing about high school. Come on now.
Welcome, Mr. Leroy. He's on audio, but yeah. So and yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. So maybe if I were, because I was a tomboy. Chad, you remember? I was tomboy down. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they weren't concerned with my activities as a.
But I think they were right.
I
I
wanna
think
say
they knew
something.
you well enough.
Say again?
No,
I think they were right. I think you had a healthy relationship with your
Look at
parents
Ashley.
to where they saw you and you felt seen, and there wasn't the facade of, oh, I'm gonna be Brandy in front of my parents and then a different whole person outside.
Right, like
Right.
Ashley was.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
no, I want to be very clear.
Here we go.
No, seriously, because I feel like Brandy trying to throw off.
First of all,
No, wait. They wasn't concerned with what I was doing because I ain't. Nobody
that's
came
not
to
what
me.
I was saying.
No, whoop, 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 whoop. Nobody came to me saying, "Well, let's have this conversation." Because I
Hey,
brought
little
it to
hot
my
to try.
mom.
I'm
I
not
brought it to
saying.
her. Talking about nobody was concerned about you, so they was concerned about me. No, we ain't gonna do this on this live.
Hey, little hot to try.
Anywho, like I
Calm
was saying, I'm
What
sorry,
y'all
you said
talk about?
something, Leroy?
No, I want
I'm
no.
gonna call my mama and put her on speakerphone.
You it's fine. You ain't got to threaten me with a good time. Like I said, maybe it was because they didn't feel a need to talk to me. I'm not saying nothing, it ain't got nothing to do with you, but you're gonna be a part of it. Maybe they didn't. I don't remember having a conversation about that stuff because they didn't feel the need to talk to me about it. Me in particular, not you, just me.
No, you didn't have that conversation because you didn't bring it to them when you was ready to do whatever you was gonna do. That's the difference.
I don't think she's ever done anything in my book.
Nobody
Thank
sat
you.
down. Right, maybe she didn't. Who knows? Nobody other than some people. I'm just saying.
People.
I'm just saying somebody know, but it was not brought to me.
Anywho,
Like,
moving
let's be
on. We're
concerned
not gonna go
about
back
me.
and forth about
I'm
what
just saying, I
my
want to clear it up
situation
for the
was.
general public.
We separate
And
on
then,
this,
yeah.
and then got nothing to do. Anyway, so Leroy, do you feel a woman can raise a man? Two of us say yes, two of us say no. What side you on?
I mean, that's ambiguous when you say raise a man. I think a woman can raise a man. Yes, I do believe a woman can raise a man.
A healthy, strong, normal man.
Productive, well-adjusted
Yeah,
member of the society.
I really do from my experience, right? And the people that I know a lot of men that have been raised by single mothers, and in most cases, they seem to be more emotionally available and emotionally aware than a lot of other men that I know that have been raised by both parents, right? And then, in that, so to answer your question, yes. Now, now, if you trying to split hairs between saying can she raise a man and teach him certain things that only a man could teach, then of course I'm gonna say no, right? But if we're talking about raising him up, allowing him to be productive in society, build healthy relationships with with a significant other, right? I think that's definitely a possibility because I know a lot of men who weren't raised by their fathers that stick to their wives because they know what it was like to not have their father in their life. So they become better fathers because of the absence of their father as well. So, yeah, definitely, I think for sure that can happen.
What is something that only a man can teach a man? Anybody can answer that question.
I know something that only a man can teach a man. I pause for a dramatic effect. So, um, I think I think the only a man can teach a man how to deal with the complexities of a woman. Now,
Disagree.
not a woman can tell you about how a woman acts, and when mom will say when this girl do this, mom can put you up on game about what a woman's doing, but only a man can teach you how your response to that should be. Mama can say if she doing this she cheating, or if she doing this she really love you, or if she doing this let her go, but only a man can tell you how you respond to that in a healthy way.
And
A good man.
I think also a man can only teach it what man is really like.
Me too.
What does it really mean to be a man? What does that look like? What specific whether it's traditional, untraditional roles do you play? How do you have that conversation? You know what I'm saying? In terms of dealing with his sexuality. I think what I'm saying. Like I also think when I started thinking about, a lot of stuff that my dad taught me that my mom didn't know when I was playing football, like really like how to run the ball, what I should be looking out for. And I'm not saying that a woman can't do that, but I haven't seen any professional women running backs, you know what I'm saying, or any professional women wide receivers. I think they can give them that advice, but I think when it comes down to, those specific things, for me, that was something that my dad taught me, and a lot of other young men that I grew up with, their fathers who were in their lives taught them those things. The mothers didn't teach them. The mothers sent them to other men to learn how to do those things.
I like that direction. What I'll piggyback off of is I think that a man can only teach another man or a growing man how to move in a room and really analyze it in a introspective way and be useful because there's a lot of distractions out there, and sometimes behaviors like the jock or like the class clown, you're going to get attention and it's going to feel good, but it may not be healthy, right? And the women who are attracted to that are going to give you false um, encouragement to continue being this person. I like that, but they're hurt and probably insufficient themselves. A real man is necessary to give that clear view to say, don't move like that. That's not what a real man does, right? Like, conduct yourself in a certain way because XYZ. This is the benefit of it. And that kid's not going to understand that at that point. He has to trust that his life experience is validating that this is true. It may not sound like it at 16, 18, but get to be 25, 28, 30 years old, and those who are moving right are going to have those boxes checked.
I'm gonna go back to um and I agree with this. To the fact that men can only teach men how, I mean, men can only teach a boy or a man how to respond to women when I don't, I don't agree with that. Like, if I have, I think my mom taught me the one of a, and it was, I think it was very blanketed, which meaning that it covered a lot. And when she told me, and I'm paraphrasing, if I have to put on the pants, he can't expect me to take them off because I can't trust him with him wearing the pants in a relationship again. So to me, it was like, know your place as a woman. This is how you you react to men doing whatever they're going to do. However, the best advice I get regarding relationships and how to respond to men is from my dad. Like, my mom didn't teach me, didn't give me the best. Like, I'm not saying she didn't give me much advice at all because I don't really ask her, but on how to respond to men. My dad is the one I go to, like, Dad, what should I do?
I think there's a difference there though,
Okay.
because dad gives advice, speaking from experience, on how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he is thinking, so this is how you respond, or this is what you should do to get him to think a certain way. That's more, and I love my dad, but that's more manipulation, in my opinion. And I think that a guy, how to respond to a girl, because everybody, he can't, I don't know how to say this, but if she's doing something and it's emotionally based, or it starts from emotion, only a guy can say, you know what, she's doing that, but keep, this is, you don't get there with her, or this is how you move in that scenario. Another woman will go there with you, or whatever. Our response in certain situations are just not the same, and it takes another guy to say. I mean, because me and one of my cousins will talk about relationships. I'm like, okay, she's doing this. This is what that means. She really likes you, but she's telling you she doesn't. But this is really what that means. But a guy can only teach you how to deal with that. I can tell you what it means, but I can't tell you how to deal with it.
So,
Right.
okay. So when I talk, and Dad gives me advice. See, something I really respect with my dad is he'll be like, "Well, that was dumb," and he'll say, I feel like my dad also teaches me in the way of what I should have, how you should respond to, how you should do, regardless of the game. The game has been taught. Aces all over the place. You know what I'm saying? I'm a pro. But he also teaches tells me how I should have responded and how I need to respond to things.
I,
And I think that goes back to a man raising a woman, a girl. The man doesn't negate your emotion, but then he gives you logic on top of it. It's hard to teach logic when that's not ingrained in you. I mean, because I know when I was going through my situation with my ex, I wanted to think logically. I had to ask other men, how do I think logically so I'm not so emotional in this situation? And that's not something that's a learned behavior for women.
I agree.
I feel like I think logic too sometimes a lot when in dealing with relationships. In dealing with relationships, I'm a very emotional person, but in dealing with relationships, I'm maybe too logical.
Because of daddy.
And when I talk to
Right.
when I talk to my male friends about their situations, I I don't really tell, I tell them why she's doing this, But I also tell them that this is what you should do if you want to keep her or if you want to let her go. Like
But
I give that.
But I also think that points to Ashley's point, right? It's learned behavior. Like you mentioned, the reason why you responded, you said because of daddy. So it's like, yeah, you learned that through your dad. So that was a learned behavior that you learned from your dad to actually think the way you're actually thinking, right? And
Right,
I
but that
think,
was a response to someone saying that a man can only teach a man how to respond to or how to respond to a woman.
Right. I said that, and I think it's still true. I think
I hope so.
yeah, I think what Leroy and Ashley are saying is your situation is different because you can teach logic, and your dad has taught logic, so you're able to give your male friends the emotional side and the logical side. Most men cannot uh, uh, um, learn the emotional side. So once a woman says to me, "Hey, look, she really don't want you to leave," even though she said, "Pack your stuff and you can leave." She really don't
Mhm.
want you to leave.
Mhm.
All right. I need a man to come back and say to me, "Bruh, you tripping? Don't go. Ain't nothing out here but hoes in these streets. Yada yada yada. This, that, and other." A woman can't say that to me in emotions and this, that, and other, because I don't even, it doesn't even impute the same way to me mentally.
Or that man would say, swallow that. Like, don't get caught up in what she's
Right.
saying. This is how you need to swallow that and let her have this moment or whatever. Like, he'll tell you how to navigate mentally through that. And I feel like, in the words of the old wise Jay-Z,
Okay, I thought you was about to say Megan Thee Stallion.
I,
Okay,
I
go.
wanted,
I'm
I wanted,
listening
I
now.
think it's something. I can't see it coming down my eyes, so I gotta make the song cry. Just want to leave it on that.
I'm with it. So that resonated with me. If a woman if I go through something and I got to take a loss, right, in the argument, and her opinion is, well, you need to just swallow that. I will be raw. Like, that's hard for me to.
Your
But if
dog
a
is like, he's
man
talking
looks
to
at
us.
me and he's like, yeah, bro, you got to take that. Got to take that L, bro. Swallow it. I will more gracefully accept that opinion. I don't know if that's ego though. I don't. That's interesting, but I think it's true for me.
True story. And I don't know why this story comes up often when we talk about different things, but it's my reality. And I
Mhm.
hope I don't offend anyone who's watching. I was in a troubled marriage, and in the troubled marriage, one night having a heated discussion, the person I was married to, who was not working, said to me, "What do you do for me? All you do is cook, clean, pay bills, and help with the children." And I remember
I mean,
thinking,
what more can you do?
right? I remember thinking, what more can I do? And I said that to her. I said, "What more can I do?" And she said to me, she said, "We've been married 2 years and we ain't never been on vacation, just the two of us. I want to go to Hawaii." I called my father. I said, "Dad, I'm working 10, 11 hours a day. She's not working. I'm paying bills. I'm coming home
Pause,
and cook."
pause, pause.
Mhm.
How would you respond to that? What would you say to
Wait,
him?
no. Wait, don't wait. Don't pause. Unpause. Because because that one over there, she gave me advice afterwards. I'll tell you what she told me.
Okay.
So watch this. So I called my dad. I said, "Dad," I said, "I'm working 10, 11 hours. I'm coming home. I'm cooking. I'm cleaning. I'm bathing my son every night, putting him to bed because he's my son. And I want to be an active dad." I said, and she said, "I don't do nothing for her but cook, clean, pay bills, and help with the children." And my dad said, "Leave." He said, "Leave." He said, "She'll never be." What is wrong with you in this bird?
Try go ahead.
He said she'll never be satisfied. He said there right now two men or two women who are fighting over a man who don't do half the stuff you're doing, and they're fighting over him to
Mm-hmm.
take care of him. And so I left. But when I spoke to my friend, doing my best, and I said to her, I said, "Man, I'm doing all this," and she said to me, X, Y, and Z. And then I said, "Well, what can I do?" And she said, "We've been married 2 years and we never been on vacation." Doing my best looked at me and said, "I get that." She said, "Because you're doing all those things for the house, for your children. You live in that house." She said, "But outside of her being a mother and a housemate, what have you done for her, the person?" Now, I'm not
Full transparency though, I wasn't saying I get that and she's right. I'm
right.
saying I understood
Right.
that part of it, but she was crazy. On top of that, like I felt like not crazy, but I felt like she was doing too much. But I understood being able to meet her emotional need of
Right,
the intimacy part.
right. And so, and I was going to get to that. And so, but my point in that was, even though I do believe she was ultimately wrong, it did help me to understand that even if you're doing those things with a woman, you have to be aware of the emotional component as well. You know what I mean? That is important as well. And that's something that I did not get from my dad. I got from a woman, and I think that matters. But we have to be honest, when you're talking about perception, it's hard for a man to understand the emotional side. But what my dad said to me was logical, and I'm glad I listened to him and I had that epiphany because, and I'm not. I hope no one who's following me feels that I'm bashing this person. If you think you know who this person is, but anyway, that person is in a situation with a completely different person, and they're doing the exact same thing. I would not have known to how to respond to that if it wasn't my for my dad. If it were me, I might have, if I just was listening to a woman, or like what doing my best said, well, that makes sense. I might have been digging myself in an early grave trying to go harder to please somebody who won't be satisfied. You know what I mean?
Right. But see, my response, I guess, my response to that would have been similar to Ash in that I get it. You want that time with your spouse, away from kids, not having to be a mother and a wife, but just a wife, right? But my thing is like,
You're fighting in between emotional lady Brandy and
no,
logical Brandy.
no, because I wouldn't take that as an emotional thing. I would take it more so. I mean, that's just something that she wants. She wants a vacation. In essence, she wants a vacation. She don't care. She technically really didn't care where she went. She just wanted a vacation. Her being specific was just her hoping to get to Hawaii. And my question would be like, so how do you think you can how do you think you can make that happen? Do you even want to make that happen? Are you still invested in the relationship enough to want to do that?
Well, I didn't think that Gerard that the woman was crazy for saying that. I thought that you know I don't know, man. I think
You can be honest. You can give me post marriage marital counseling. Go ahead.
it don't matter. The situation over with. But I was out to because to me because I talked to Ashley about a lot of personal stuff, you know what I'm saying? That, especially relationships, there's a lot of stuff that I done been through and stuff like that. And I'm able to, do some reflection and just really hear certain needs that need to be met, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think it is unrealistic to say, hey, what more can I do? Which is a legitimate question that you asked her, right? And then her response was, we haven't been on vacation, just me and you. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that was too much to actually um
Who was that to say I understand her point? Let me go in here to see who I'm gonna block.
I don't think that was too much to actually ask for, because again, I think it still points to a need for her that needs to be met. So to ask her husband to meet this need that I'm having a longing for, like this desire to have some intimate time with me and you, even though you are doing those things with the kids and stuff like that, it's not a unrealistic, what I'm saying, ask. But I think from your point of view, I can understand how you may felt like it was unrealistic because you were actually carrying the load of the relationship, and to ask for more on top of the load that you already have been carrying kind of led to it being something that was kind of unreasonable. Like, hey, you must have forgot about all these other things that I'm doing. Now
Right.
you talking about taking me to Hawaii, you know what I'm saying, on top of that.
You not
So
grateful for what I'm
And I
doing,
think,
Papa? No.
right,
but
and
I think that
I don't think. But listen, what I'm saying, I don't think she was communicating to you that she wasn't grateful. Right, I think she was responding honestly to the question that you asked her, and I think the follow up question could have been, if you felt like she was ungrateful because of that, I think that could have been communicated in terms of, hey, when you make this comment, it makes me feel right ungrateful. And I think that also points to the fact that men do lead with emotions sometimes, right? Like, it's not uh,
I think that
Oh,
I think that that's why it's important. And I know that this is not the topic, but a two-parent household,
Oh,
or
yeah.
having a man in the household for that woman, because a man would say, you- they want to be appreciated. He would let his daughter know another man wants to be appreciated. He wants to be respected. Those things about a man that we don't know. And that's where I say she was crazy in her delivery. I felt she shouldn't have came at it as if you don't do anything, and but this is what I want. I think you have to be humble in that situation. I appreciate everything that you've done, but can you meet this need also?
I,
That,
I
that was my issue in that. But a dad or another man role model, because even if it's a woman raising a girl by herself, there still should be a man coming in somewhere, uncle, in a healthy way. But giving that guidance and how to talk to that man.
I think she's absolutely right. And I was going to say before she said this, we did have that conversation, and I think this is still on tonight's topic. Why man is necessary? Because her response was when I said, "You don't see me working. You don't see me doing all this." She said, "I'm supposed to give you a cookie for doing what you supposed to be doing." That was the actual statement,
oh,
meaning I'm not even going to be grateful because this is what you're supposed to be doing. That's why it was like, oh, you sound crazy. Because
makes sense. Makes
right,
sense.
you know what I mean? That follow-up statement, but there are a lot of situations that men say to women also because of lack of I talked about it last week when I was going through a miscarriage with a woman, and I said it's not like you lost a real baby. I did not have any knowledge. And I guess you can't talk about everything in life, but that's why raising, when you talk about raising, like, and I hate to say this on this live because everybody knows that Ashley's the greatest mother ever.
My mom
Ashley
is actually, but
Ashley has created an environment with her children, and it used to make me uncomfortable as my friend being around them because they ask whatever, and
yeah,
she
I agree.
and she, and she answers whatever. And at first, it made me uncomfortable. Like, God, you don't think they too little for that? And she takes her time. She breaks it, whether they're going on a road trip and they're talking about a stoplight, or whether someone is on the road shot in the face. She literally says, exact. Well, it looks like here that prostitute, this is a pimp, and the pimp was trying to collect them. Like she explains, that's why you shouldn't be a prostitute. That's why you shouldn't have a pimp. She explains all of it. Well, this is what happened. And in that, I learned it made me a better parent that raising a child is not just providing somewhere for them to be, shelter, feeding them, and doing homework, but it's like a plant. You don't just deal with the
Set it
plant
out in the
as it
sun.
grows.
Right.
Right. You have to water the plant before the plant gives you any stimuli that it needs a response. You have to be proactive in watering the plant and putting it in the sunshine. That's where the real root is on this raising thing. A lot of men aren't raising good men because they're not raising them, they're watching them.
I have two questions. The first one, I'm going to ask both of them because I might forget because I didn't write them down. The first one, Ash, is where do you get that method of parenting from? And the second question is, did you say to her when she said she need her vacation to Hawaii? Did you tell her your needs? Like, I need you to cook every now and again. I need you to do this every now and again. Or did you continue just, I hate to put it this way, but being a do boy and not asserting your leadership that we said earlier is required of him, that it makes a man? Did you do that? Okay, go. Both of y'all. Action. Whoever wants to go first.
One, I want to touch on both of them because I actually did talk to him about that. I remember my mom said, if you stay in your place as the woman, he'll have no choice but to stand in the role of the man.
Come on,
It's when
mama.
you start trying to stand where a man stands, then there's confusion. Okay, well, because only one person can stand in one spot at a time. And I remember telling that to Jay, if you be the man and do your part, she'll go to where she's supposed to go with. Because right now she's confused.
Come on.
But as far as me, I go back to the other thing we was talking about when Brent tried to make me seem like I was out there.
Oh my
My mom
gosh.
had an open line of communication with me. I remember being able to ask what I wanted to ask, and I want to be the controller of information with my girls.
And that's
I
something
don't want
Mama taught.
them to have a question. They go and ask somebody else. They might not give them the right answer or might give them a tainted view because they're emotional. I try to take my emotions out of the question, out of the answers. I try to answer textbook or Bible based or whatever. Even, it's not just my opinion. And I want them to feel comfortable as Black women being able to ask what they want or to be assertive in a positive way in a certain situation. And I want to say this because I feel like it's on both ends: a woman raising a man and a woman raising a woman. I did seek out men to help cultivate my children. Leroy was a big player in their lives, and I wanted them to be around him. My dad, I made sure they was around him, because it's 4 girls and it's just me for the most part. The dad is he does play his part, but I wanted consistent male role models who they can ask questions to and who they can look at and say, oh, this is what a man looks like. This is how he should move. So I purposefully found certain men who I agree with their lifestyle and I agree with how they treat their women. And I made sure my girls could see it, even if the man never said anything, because women learn a lot from sight.
For sure.
Watching. And that's why everybody say, oh, she wearing that purse for another woman, or she wearing that outfit for another. She ain't doing that to impress no man, because we're sight as well. So that was just me. That's my thought process. And lastly, I do it on every age level because I don't know when I'm gonna die. And I have a thing about that. I want to give them all I have while I'm still alive.
Have anxiety about that, please not. And also, let me say, in that relationship that she's cultivated with asking questions, they do not mind asking us questions either.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is very important. Also, having your children well adjusted where they're like, I can ask these people a question and I know that they're going to give me the best answer for me and not based off of, don't let me tell you what happened to me last week type of situation. So I think you're doing a great job with them.
I, I
And respectfully, they ask questions respectfully.
Oh, sure.
right, right. And I concur. I think you're doing a good job, and they have healthy expectations as a result of it. Her baby daughter told me one day something that she thought a man should be doing, and literally she looked at me. She said, "Well, you're the man," and it was riveting. Why is homie in a car? Who is that in my business? Because I started at a restaurant.
Deja. Nope, nope.
Hmm.
Chevalier.
Right, right. Seek God. Look at my shirt.
Wait
Seek.
a minute. And since Chev is on,
Mhm.
I asked him the same thing because he's raising two boys. I said, who is giving him the mother, like the emotional aspect of growth? I believe that on both ends. So I wanted to say, to Daniel, I apologize if that sounded harsh, what I said earlier, but I believe that all the way across, me raising two girls, him raising two boys, who is
You
giving
raising four
the
girls.
opposing, I'm sorry, four girls, uh, who's giving the opposing viewpoint?
Five girls, including Precious. But I want to say, but I want to say to answer your question, Brandy.
Hmm.
Did I go back and say, um, what is it that you need, or how can I honestly can't. What was your question? Did I not?
Did you tell her what you need, not asking her what she needs? Clearly she told you what she needs. She ain't got no
Right,
problem telling you what she needs.
right. I did have a conversation about what I need, and Ashley said something earlier, um, that her mom said if you get into your place, somebody will automatically get in theirs. I don't agree with that. I agree. I agree that you too agree with it, because that's what you saw and that's how you were raised. But every woman and man is not raised the same. There are some women that I don't care, values and integrity. I don't know who said that. If they don't have
Chevalier.
them, if they don't have them, you can't love someone into being a valuable and a person of integrity. That has to be in them, or the desire has to be in them, and the willingness to conform. That just like you can't love someone out of being an abuser. And I think that if we put the responsibility on someone's actions, on my actions, that's a dangerous slope to say, because it is the woman that's punched in the eye to say, well, maybe if I didn't burn the rice, or maybe if I didn't not cook his favorite meal, but maybe if I just keep doing everything I know, he'll stop hitting me. I think that's dangerous. um
But
That's
that's just
extreme. That's
dumb.
abuse. That's extreme. That's abuse.
Right.
If you're going to Orlando and I sit in the passenger seat, you're not going to try and sit in my lap. Obviously, somebody's going to drive. I've committed myself to the passenger. So I feel, and I want to go back to the chef's question about the
Let's say
opposing.
something real quick.
Okay,
And even using that car situation, if he gets in the driver's seat, I'm not getting in there too.
right.
Like I'm gonna know my place is on the passenger side, or I'm gonna sit in the back seat, whichever one is more comfortable. But it's not gonna be the driver's seat. Okay, go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, but I think when you try to use that analogy, it doesn't necessarily fit, right? Because you know that
Well, it's
two
not gonna be an
people
exact
It's
science.
extreme. It's an
no,
extreme.
right. I'm saying two people can't drive at the same time. So of course you're gonna get in the passenger seat, right? Now that's not saying that you might not even argue about whether you should be driving or not, right? But so I think we probably should use a different analogy.
I
I
agree,
think
and
that analogy is
let me
fitting.
tell you what the difference
It
is.
was extreme,
Okay,
but
Right.
you got the
let me
point.
let me tell you what the difference
Now I
is.
was trying to understand the point, right? Because the point is that a person will get in line if you stay your position there naturally get in line, then that doesn't make sense. Naturally you would do that, right? Two people can't be pelling at the same time, because so of course you forced to do that. But when you have options and choices, you know what I'm saying, where you can take the lead and you don't necessarily have to listen to somebody else, and you left with those choices, then that becomes something completely different.
I agree, and I think that. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna. You want to respond to Trevor quick?
No, we can stay on this. I want to say that I agree with what's her name,
Christina?
Quashina, that it should be communicated. Roles should be communicated for the most part. I'm just saying, like in general, if I don't do it, he'll do it. Hopefully, or if he's doing it, I can't be doing it because he's doing it. I was
Right.
saying that in that way. And to Chev, I was saying that not an opposing, that maybe that's the wrong word, but the more of the nurturing or hold, because I think women are just different when it comes to holding a child. I know me, I'll hold them like speaking life and praying. It's just like a kind of a more of a
Nurturing.
nurturing, mothering feel. And I was asking, as far as just having that level of sensitivity, because a man will raise a harder a girl. I think he can raise a successful woman, but she'll just be a harder, in my opinion, at times, harder views on life.
Just somebody text me, said she tried you, Jay, and that he made the right decision.
I appreciate that.
He made the right decision.
I appreciate that.
Who said that, Six?
George. A guy named George. He texted me.
Yeah, I think if I may piggyback on what Leroy said real quick, I think there are a certain type of person, just like there are a certain type of men who may not be motivated to be great providers or whatever. A woman comes along can motivate him to do that. But if a man decides he doesn't want to do it, a woman can't change that. I think that too.
Sorry, hi.
Oh look, they both
You
got on
gonna
at the
work
same.
it out.
Look, welcome to the Oliver Show. Dun, 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 dun,
It's a
dun.
song that it's a story that never ends. You
Right.
dang
So,
Skippy. Come
so,
on,
so,
fam.
so right, right. And I just want to say this, Chev, those glasses are giving what they're supposed to give. Just want to say that for the record.
Thank you. I wanted to look smart in front of everyone, so I chose the smartest glasses that I own.
Right. And it also makes me look at Leroy's sunglasses and think, how are you two related? But I mean, it is what it is, bro.
Anywho,
Listen,
Look into our brains, and
right,
then you
right.
will understand how we are related.
I wanted to say to Leroy's point and the analogy about a car. A normal person won't jump in a car seat with you unless you're trying to steal their car. If you come out of a grocery store and somebody's sitting in driving your car and they're not supposed to get there, you'll jump right in and try to snatch the keys out, do whatever, because it's a sign of dysfunction. It's a sign of dysfunction.
order.
Correct.
Right.
Right. And something is not going right. And
Are
so
you? Is this where is someone in your car trying to steal your car? Is that why you're?
almost
Are you? Are you blink twice if you need help?
so I thought I was the one that said blink twice. I don't like it. But but I want to say to Ashley's point about a man raising a harder woman, I don't even think it'll be a harder woman. If a mother passes away and a father is single and he treats her like a princess and he takes her to Disney and plays with the princess and he babies her and he's this, that, and other, I don't even think she'll be a harder woman. I think she'll just be a woman raised by a man. It's different with a man though. If a man is minus a father and the mother either is extra hard, stop crying, you ain't gonna be no punk, yada yada, this, that, another, it's damaging. And if she's too soft and enabling him because she's sad that his dad is gone and she babies him, guess what? He's gonna be sorry either way. I think that it doesn't equate the same way with a woman than it does a man. A man absent of a man raising him and a woman who is not able to govern it just right, because I'm not saying she can't. She can definitely do it, but I'm saying that she has a greater probability of damaging that male child emotionally by either being too hard or too soft.
But how? Because it was just said that a man raising a daughter can't even give her emotional education. So how is that not damaging? Sorry,
Hey,
how's that not?
I don't agree. I don't know if you said that, but I totally disagree. That a man can't get a female emotional education.
I disagree too. I didn't say that. I did.
I wholeheartedly disagree with that because I'm always giving my nieces, that.
I hate that you look so cool on this treadmill while you're walking. This is the coolest workout. This is the coolest
You
workout
do
ever.
look kind of right.
Looking like
Yeah,
Bumblebee. I will say this though. The the question for me that you posed tonight, Brandy, is interesting because I think it's all hearsay. Um, the reason being is in general, and I'm speaking as a completely new parent. I'm speaking as someone who doesn't have years and decades of experience in raising children. But again, I'm coming from a lens of how I feel like I've been raised, and also how I feel like I'm raising my twins. I think parents raise their children, no matter if they're a man or a woman or whatever the case may be. Parents raise their children based on what they feel like they have lacked, and they are trying to make up for that lack of that they have received. So it just so happens also, and it just tends to be in the uh, and these are numbers. I did a few numbers before I tried to come on here because I also try to lead with the data. Right in the Black community, um, it is fathers are a bit more absent in the household, right? And so in the in the grand scheme of things, data wise, fathers are a bit more absent in the household. So
But
that
that's why
is,
I have. They gave her no choice. So go ahead.
I think that's fair, and I think what like what my mom did was attempt to do something that she felt that she didn't get. Not her father was absent in the household, but she felt like, I'm sure, she didn't get um, a father that showed up fully, right, for the
Mm-hmm.
household, and wanted to give that to us, my sister and I. And our father wasn't in the household, so my mom had a single parent household, um, and did her best to nurture that, what she felt she missed and what was missing in our lives. And so um, I don't necessarily think I think it's just all a gender construct, right? I think men can raise, single fathers can raise fantastic daughters. I think single mothers can raise fantastic men, and be productive. And I think there are a few examples on this call right now, or on this chat right now, that are examples of that.
Tell me something. Did your mom, because Uncle Rob, was absent for the most part, right? Do you feel your mom taught you not just the emotional part of it, taught you and your sister, the also the logical part of life, like the way a way to how to think logically?
Absolutely. I'm gonna say, Leroy, go on mute for a second because I don't know what's going on behind you. This is yeah, there it is. Can you repeat that for me, Brandy?
Did you feel your mom taught you the logical part of thinking, not just the emotional part that they're saying only women can teach the emotion, but they're gonna have issue with teaching the logic? I
But
don't agree. I think women can do
I
that, but
totally disagree with that notion, by the way. Because what I think logic does is, logic is the basis of survival. And what we know about Black women is that Black women have continued to keep the culture alive through survival tactics.
come
And so
on.
that is a ton of logic. And so I disagree with that entire notion of women can't think the logical part and it's all the emotional part. So to answer your question fully, yeah, my mom taught me not just the emotional, she taught me the super logical because my mom taught me how to survive.
Okay. Leroy, you were gonna say something?
yeah. I was gonna say, to do you think parents can it be both in instead of one or the other? Like, can they teach from a place what they were lacking, but also from a place of what how they grew up and certain principles that they did adopt as well.
For
So it's
sure.
not necessarily that parents are teaching from or raising from a place of what they lack, but it can be both what they lack and the stuff that they picked up that they thought was beneficial. That was
I
a
think that's a
question.
great question, and it's a resounding yes for me. So not only am I particularly trying to raise my twins from what I felt like was lacking in my life, but I'm also trying to discipline, like figure out what the discipline plan is going to be for them. Because y'all know Nene, the discipline was real and it was
All of them.
quick
Don't you ain't
and
even
it
got to
was
isolate
all of yeah
nobody.
the
All of them.
all five of them all five of them. It was quick. It was swift.
It
What
was
was
certain.
what it was certain, and it was never wrong. And what I also feel that uh, was super prevalent was that we're a team as a family, and I felt like that was like a really main theme. Like that I want to continue into my boys as well. So, Leroy, I really appreciate that question because it checks for me and it calls me into a space of like, yeah, it's not only what I felt like I was lacking from uh, my father not being as present as I would have liked and present as my mom does like, but it's also my mom built some of these traditions that I never want to die, and I want to instill in my boys as well.
And let me ask this one more question to you. Who was, because I agree, a household with both parents, ideal. Um, the relationship, the mom and son, the dad and daughter with a female influence, with a masculine influence is necessary. Um, who was or who were the males that you remember? You're like, yeah, I like. Okay, yeah, okay, I learned this from this person or whatever the case may be.
It actually for me there was a couple of folks. Well, one, a few. My uncles were really, really important in my life to me growing up, and that's why I try to be the best uncle that I possibly can be. We'll come back to that comment later.
Right.
I
Kunkel, cousin uncle.
Wait, what? Who's a kunkel?
Be the best cousin uncle, cause he the girl's cousin. So Kunkel.
Mhm.
Oh, right.
So right, but I'd say Michael Ray, Maurice, and Nuki, and like Uncle Ronell, like they were real. They were really influential. Uh, I can't think of a week where I haven't seen one of them in my childhood, and that was really important to me. And there was a couple others, but the other one was the pastor that my mom really counseled with, Ronald Critton, and he had 6 kids of his own, right?
Hmm.
But he was really, really important to me being like I feel like the man that I am today, because what all these men did for me, I felt like they broke down the norms of the masculine figure, meaning they showed me love and they told me often how much they loved me, and they told me often how much I was worth it, and they showed it, and they like even if there was a moment where my mom just she couldn't handle me, she could handle me, but she was like, I'm over it. She can call one of them, and all 6 probably would show, or all 5 would
Yeah,
show up,
yeah.
right, real quick, right. And so, um, my mom's brothers were really influential to me, and then my mom's like chosen brothers, like in Ronald Critton, he was really dope.
So how did that
Is really
refine?
dope.
How did that refine your manhood, like you being a man?
As I said, I think it it kind of made me think about, um, we I saw what I thought my dad was, right, was what this male figure should be, and you know there was this disrespect that I don't think any man should have in general, to people, and particularly to women, and particularly to those women that he said he loved, my mom that he had kids with. But what these men showed me were the vulnerability that it's really needed to be a man. And like
Hmm.
Most people don't even hear from their own fathers from their fathers how much they love, like how that their fathers love them. But I heard from my uncles often how much they loved me and how proud of they were for me and how much they supported me, and they showed that support like fully in person and all these things.
I have a quick question. First statement, Ronnie Critton is really cool. I actually talked with him yesterday in person for about 2 hours. Um, uh, my question though, do you think that enforcement, positive reinforcement you got, because earlier you talked about being raised by a single mom. Let's take away your uncles and Ronnie Critton. Are you still the same man you are today?
Oh yeah, those my uncles, and Critton were icing on the cake.
Okay.
My mom was the foundation and is the foundation. My mom is still like, I still go to my mom about, and this could be not controversial, but this could get maybe a little flack. But I still go to my mom sometimes to think about to talk about how to be a better man, how to be a better father, how to be a better whatever. In and I think it's because she knows. I think she is an expert at this point on what it is to raise a man and raise a functional one in society, because she did say, I think she regurgitated what she heard. I'm not a man and I don't know how to raise one, but I'm going to try my best. And that's just a regurgitation of it's an excuse. I feel like you have to say when you're a woman because you don't necessarily have the parts that match with it. But being a man has nothing to do with the parts. Being a man has everything to do with the responsibility, the values, and the integrity. And that's exactly what my mom taught to me.
Well, I'm
You
gonna say
you,
being a
you
man
missed
does have something to do with the past.
you missed a great opportunity. I thought you were gonna say being a man has nothing to do with the parts, but has everything to do with the heart. You missed a great opportunity.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But you
That's
missed
good.
it. But it
I
does
did.
have something to do with the part.
Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah, that's good. But yes, so being a man has nothing to do with the parts, but it has
But
everything to do with the heart.
oh, good one. That was a good one. Wow, that
Thank
whoever
you.
came up with that.
Thank you.
So, it was something you said, but then I got on the parts part. Oh, actually, I want to go back to something Leroy said where he was like the sports thing. And I'm gonna put this comment up while I talk so you guys can read it. Um, Goes back to the sports thing, and he was like, my mom couldn't teach me how to run the ball, do this. I'm about to say ball, run the ball, do this, da 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 da. But like if she's aware, if she's knowledgeable in football, if she's knowledgeable in that sport, if she's not like that's just like saying commentators on ESPN shouldn't be female because they know nothing about whatever the case may be. I just wanted to
No,
say that I disagree with that.
no, that is not like saying
Oh, didn't mean
uh that is not like saying that because
okay.
I think if we're talking about somebody teaching somebody how to be a commentator, like that's just natural. I think that you can go to school to learn how to do that. But we're
And you
talking
went to
about
school to learn football.
no, I didn't go to school to learn football.
Some people do.
I learned football. I mean, you can know the X's and O's, right? But the X's and O's doesn't necessarily teach vision. It doesn't teach you, how to read off the block. It doesn't teach you, how to absorb contact. And it's just like I said, it's just a lot of things from me personally that that a man has taught me, just specifically my dad. As we were talking about it, that I just couldn't, I just couldn't learn from my mom. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, as I stated, I haven't seen, any, professional women running backs, right? Like that's a true statement, right?
Right,
So,
because the league doesn't allow women.
I mean, even if I wouldn't say the league doesn't allow women. I just don't see any women that can
I would
compete.
say the league doesn't allow women.
Well, I don't know because they got women coaches. They have women
No,
doing
the
We're
the
not
certain
league
talking
things.
about
doesn't.
coach.
No,
No, the league doesn't
he-
allow for
but
women to
here,
play on the field, just like
but,
the
but
NBA doesn't allow for Cheryl Miller, who was one of the greatest basketball players, who almost made it into the NBA. And if it wasn't for such a misogynistic era, would probably be in the NBA and put up better stats than those men.
I, not, I can't. I think I think that's a reach. Like cause I start to look at
It's
the
not.
I start to look at the physicality of football. Right, I'm just speaking because I know we're
Right. I
switching.
agree. The physicality
So
is to be
when
taken
I
into
look at the
consideration.
physicality of football, right, I cannot see 135, 150-pound woman getting taking a multiple hits by a 250-pound, 275-pound man day in and day out, and her being productive to say I'm going to be in the actual NFL to be a professional national football player. I think a lot of women have tried, right? Because I played with a female on my freshman team, and I mean,
But the
some of
argument is not. I don't think Leroy. I don't think the argument is the original argument is not can women play in the league. The original argument is can women teach men how to play in the league.
what no, you did say that. Well, you did say that you thought that what we were talking about was women being able to play professional football, and that that the league won't let them. And I was
You're right.
saying,
You're right. I'm saying but the original. Yes, that is correct.
I'm
right.
sorry.
So
It got
I'm
to the
sorry.
point.
I'm
So
sorry.
I'm only answering that part to say that if there was a woman good enough to play in the league, I couldn't see them not allowing her to play just because it's a
Okay, let me say
business
this.
and
Let me say this.
any
It's a
other
bunch of
stuff.
trash dudes in the league now. It's a
I
bunch of
mean,
dudes that can't play.
what
I, I
So
wait.
to say that
I'm
there's not a woman,
I'm
and
go- I'm
I'm going, I'm just,
I'm,
and this is the type of
Brandy.
conversation.
I think that's
I
what I'm
get
trying
what
to.
you're saying. I would
No,
not
no, no, no.
want to be
You
hit
say
by a man.
no, it's not even that. When you say there's a bunch of trash
On the
dudes
field.
in the league on the field, I think you really don't understand how difficult it is to actually play professional football because you got to
Leroy,
think.
can I cut you off real
You
quick?
can, brother.
Hey, Ashley, I don't know if that's Ashley who's clinking dishes in the background, but it sounds like someone is in a Morrison's cafeteria.
You know what? I am on here, but I am muted.
She sure
It's
is.
So you
Leroy.
need to apologize.
It's
I'm
And you
Leroy.
in.
so worried about what's on my side of the computer. Oh wait,
I'm
you
in.
can't see
That
me. On
that's
my side of the computer.
Well, I
So
didn't
that's
know
please
who it was.
apologize. I'm
that's
muted.
me.
I'm
I'm in the
sorry.
gym. That's the weights clanking. So
Oh,
I
that's
Right.
the
apologize.
weights clinking.
He's at the
I
gym.
apologize.
Any boop. Now they both
Not the
be
dishes. Why couldn't it be weights for Ashley?
Male chauvinistic a little bit.
Mm.
much.
Back to Leroy's point. Leroy,
Oops.
ain't no woman playing in that league. Ain't no woman playing in that league.
I honestly would not want a woman playing in the league. I think that's a lot of abuse. A lot of people, I feel like a lot of other people shouldn't be playing in the league, but that's a lot of gosh darn abuse. But going back, I do believe a mother can teach her son how to play football
Or
or how to play
basketball.
a sport,
I
and
challenge
thus
I
how to
challenge
be a
anyone to
man.
that.
Right, but you got to keep in mind. I didn't say that a woman couldn't do that. I named a specific
Right.
position, and I was
Right.
saying in this specific position because I've seen women football coaches, and they definitely can coach uh, young men uh, to play, professional football and stuff like that. But again, specifically is what I'm referring to.
Right.
Uh,
But Leroy, what I
skill
was trying to say
positions.
was I agree with you that I know that's what you're saying. I was trying to say though the original question. I tried to bring it back to the original question: can women um, coach, teach? Particularly, we're talking about single moms, right? Can they do what they need to do to get their to help uh, their sons play better?
Yeah, no, I know a bunch of moms that can get their sons to go out there and play better. By through matter of fact, we got a teen mom on our team. I mean, she motivates the heck out of her son to actually play better. but she's not coaching me.
And Brandy, and again, I'm hours late to this, or 2 hours and 10 minutes late to this. But do we also, the question is originally for this thread: can a woman, a mom, raise a productive and well-adjusted man?
Mm-hmm.
And did I miss something where folks defined what a man was?
Yes, you did. But if you would like to, it was defined as protector, leadership is important, provider. He needs to be able to know the value of a woman. I think those were what we came up with, and apparently how to teach boys how to take baths.
Oh, what?
I don't know.
Watch your neck. Yeah,
Get behind
that's
your
the
ear.
part. Yeah, the ear, the neck is the important part. But why are all those things? Why is that being a man? Is that not just being someone who's responsible?
No, let me.
Go ahead.
I said I talked about leadership as far as provision and protection mainly, because no matter what your state is, and I gave this example, if I'm walking next to a feminist, she can even be a homosexual lady who is dressed like a man that day. If we're walking down the street and me and her are walking together, and she's a feminist, even if she just told me I can get my own door at the restaurant, if a man jumps out of the bushes while we're walking down the street, she's going to expect me to grab somebody or to do something first. The feminist is
Why
going
you
to.
always lying? She ain't expecting you to do nothing.
Yes, we
Oh,
are.
yeah. You better believe that feminist.
Yes, the heck
I
I
am
am.
woman.
You better do something.
Right. I am woman. Hear
I
me
got
roar.
these hands, but you
A
better use yours.
Nobody expecting Jay to do nothing.
A 6'5", 225-year-old Joker jumps out of the bushes. She's definitely looking for me to. I guarantee you, if I stand behind her and say, "Get him, she'll tell everybody that so and so ain't no man. That's
Right.
exactly what she'll say. That's exactly
Heck
what
yeah.
she'll say. I don't care how woke she is. I don't care how much of a woman's power she is. 6'5", 225 jumps out of bushes at night, and we're standing there together, just me and her. She's 1000% gonna expect me to take the lead.
To
And
be fair, you're also a feminist. Anyone that's on this call right now or on this thread and listening to this is a feminist.
Chef, drop your address, because the way you said feminist, I'm not sure if it was an insult, but it felt like one, cuz.
It's not a I'm a feminist. I'm a very proud one too. Right?
I'm agreeing. I agree. And also those things mentioned are opinions of those that gave them.
Correct. And then I ask, so is my mom a man? Because she was all those things.
She is. She came from the side of a man, a woe man. Whoa, man. You welcome.
I'm gonna mute.
Next question. This test is easy. Give me the next one. More, please. Shoot. So if we're gonna wrap it up, did anybody have anything they want to say? Let's get a quick consensus. If you feel, I'm gonna have to say because two of them are on audio. Can a woman, a mother, raise her son to be a productive, well-adjusted man?
Yes.
I'm going with the yes. Okay.
Ashley.
Oh yeah, she said no.
Oh, we had this conversation in my office. I remember this.
So Ash, you said that you saying that the woman
Q agrees. Thank you.
Raise him to be a productive, well-adjusted man.
Leroy, why are you saying it like your heart is broken?
It did. It sounded like he was hurt, didn't it?
Because then I question, does Ashley believe that I'm a well-adjusted man?
Ooh.
And does Ashley believe that I am someone who is in society that can be seen as successful and be that man that is needed to be? And that's the question.
And I can answer that. Ashley's going to say you had male influence in your life, and that's why you are that
That's
way.
not the question. But
I'm saying what she's going to say.
But there's not a etc. on there.
There is.
But my mom allowed those men to be in my life. And
Right.
so therefore she had to be the decision maker and the
Yeah.
person who allowed those things to
That'll wrap
happen,
it up,
and
huh?
to understand that there was a product, like there's some productivity into that. And so it was her decision that led to this point.
Right.
He's saying that they're not raising; they just were tools that mom used. So she ultimately still gets the credit for that. I agree with that.
I get what he's saying,
Mhm.
but I think that they play a big role in who you are today. I do feel like you are a man. I do feel like you're a well adjusted, successful man. I think that a lot of men also poured into you and helped you get to where you are, and we can't negate that. I feel like a woman can raise a productive man, but the full can she raise a man 100% with the ins and outs of who he is? No, because she can't. We cannot think like a man. I think that act
Tell
like
that to Steve
act
Harvey.
like think like a man. That is
Well,
so real. We cannot think like you think. And we did
I
have a
that
conversation in
is
your office. We did. And I asked you about women being a part of the twins' life. Because I feel it has to be a balance on both ends. Like there's some things that only a woman is processing that way. And
and
there's
but what did I tell you though? Like I
you
did
said that
retort
that
that.
they have that. You said that your
But
mom,
I
his
retorted
mom,
to Ashley. I retorted to science. I said that the one thing
Why
that
did you do that with your glass? Why
because
did you do that
I
with
need
your?
I
I
wish I
said
had.
Ashley, it's, the there were things scientifically that I wish that my twins had, particularly being young. Right, I think breast milk, that being really healthy for their systems and being healthy and being better for their brain development. And the other thing I said was about women's body temperatures. Women's body temperatures can regulate to their babies. And I retorted to science, but I also said that I am very comfortable, super comfortable with and me being a feminist, because I'm using feminist in a great term here, unlike pastor in a second. I'm, I also feel that I can give them the nurture that's needed and the love that's needed because I understand what that looks like. And so I don't necessarily think that is missing in their life. Would it be something that you could provide as an aunt to them? I absolutely think that could be something that's great and that should is needed. Their both of their grandmothers can give that to them as well, but I don't necessarily think that they it is a missing factor in their life because I also don't subscribe to gender constructs in that way.
No, I think that to me, I think that's dangerous to say that there's things that a woman cannot provide or does not have to provide, and that it's only science based, and that they don't need that from a woman. I think that definitely there's a difference between women and men. Like we cannot say that there is not. There is just innate differences between women and men. Women lead with emotion. That we can even say that's a scientific fact. A woman will provide a certain level, depending on the woman. Every woman is different, depending on how she's raised. But there's a level of softness, understanding, and compassion for that child, especially if she birthed the child. It's a difference in that. Whereas a guy, like Jay said 2 weeks in a row, he felt we had a miscarriage. The baby wasn't here, but for that woman, the moment she found out she was pregnant, that child was hers. She lived every day with that child. She thought of that child. She planned for that child. She saw that child
she
graduate
felt
high
that
school.
child.
In
She
those in that moment, you can say no, but you're not in that
I,
position.
what can I say something
Hold on,
though?
wait a
Right?
second. I'm not done with
I
my
am
rant.
saying no.
I'm not
I
done
am
with
saying no, and I
I'm
respectfully
not done with
disagree.
my rant. I'm not
I
done with
I,
my rant.
with
I disagree
I
Moran.
with
feel
your rant.
like
Maureen,
I feel like
Maureen.
Moran.
Moran. I feel like she has planned for that child. She has saw that child being birthed. Miscarriage is not something taken lightly. And I want to also say that's another reason women have a hard time with breakups, because we saw ourselves going all the way with this guy. Even in a marriage, I'm telling you, you can say whatever you want to say, but
I'm
wait, this
agree.
way, whatever you want to say, but there are things that women
Sure.
do. The way we think is different from a man. A girl needs a man and a woman in her life, and a boy needs a woman and a man in her life, no matter how it comes. Because even you, Chubb, Leroy, Uncle Nuki, Uncle Michael Ray, my dad, I sought y'all out to be a part of their life intentionally. And it
I,
is what it is.
can I say this though?
Real
I
quick.
want to say this, and I don't know if
Who said
Chev is
that?
Tasia.
Okay.
I want to say this, and I don't know if Chef was going to say this. Had
Is
I
that the
been
worship
able,
director, Tasia? Because I got questions. I'm sorry.
Stop hating. Stop hating. Go
I
ahead.
I want to say this. I said that 2 weeks in a row about the miscarriage because it's true. But I'm not saying that if it were possible for me to have carried the child, that I would not have had those feelings either. I think that is relative to the situation. I do believe, and I do agree that that they need a touch from both sides. But what you're saying actually sounds more like not necessarily if a man can raise a mom can raise a productive, well-adjusted man, or if a dad could do. What you're saying is if it's is if to a boy being raised by a boy won't even be a well-adjusted, productive man if he doesn't have a woman's influence.
A man being raised by a
I'm
man,
with you. I'm with you when I'm
yeah,
with you.
I believe that he needs a female influence.
But
One
let me tell
thousand
you what the problem
percent.
with that is. Let me tell you what the problem with that is. So what you're saying is not just you're saying if a child is orphaned, if a child is adopted, that any child in a single parent household whether they're with a woman, a little girl with a mom, or a little boy with a dad, that child is jacked up from a single parent household. Period.
No, no, you're adding. I didn't say the child be jacked up. Because I don't believe that. Like I said, Chef just said, I'm sorry, that he was raised by a single mother. And I know that for a fact. My auntie did a great job with both her children, and she hustled and struggled for them. I know that for a fact. They are both well adjusted, productive
They
citizens that
are
contribute to society, and they don't suffer
legit.
from it. So, no, I'm not saying they're going to be jacked up, but I am saying that even in that, Chev and his sister had male influences that helped them along the way. I didn't
And my
say
argument is that without the male influences, we would still be great. And that's the argument that I have to the question in particular, that can we still be productive and well adjusted? And it is a thesis. It is a hypothesis, right? Because we don't know, because we don't have neither. Well, you're shaking your head, but you
no,
don't
because you
know.
can look at, so for instance, when you have somebody, let's say somebody who has made it in the pros, they're playing a professional sport,
Mhm.
and you ask them about their life, and this is just, you can probably pick a random person, and let's say it's a boy raised by his mom. Yeah, my mom did a great job, and my coach, I stuck to him. I found everybody, every one of them seems like they have a person that was in there that helped them, that was a male or matched the sex. Whether they say, oh, if a guy might go into a game, because they're looking for that male influence. They need that to drive, or whatever it is, because I don't understand it, because I'm not a man. But everybody says, you know what, my uncle did this, or my I remember I had an older cousin who did this. It's not that that parent can't do it and make them successful, but that parent can only can't give them everything. And that's even in a two-parent household of opposite sex, a man and a woman. It's only so much that we can do. And I remember telling my sisters, I need help. When I was with their dad, because they might, and there's some things that my child not gonna talk to me about. But I want my sisters to be ready for those conversations. If my child comes to you about certain things, open the door for them. We can't, when people start thinking this is singular and you can do this on your own. We are not an island. Humanity is not an island. I think that that's so destructive. It takes a community. There are things that are going to come up that I pray to God, if my children come to Chubb and they say this is what I'm dealing with,
But
I hope that he helps them.
but does he get the credit for raising them?
Even if I am, he does help me. He does get the credit.
No.
My
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
children, my sister's children, I am their mom.
Darn, that's straight up.
They are great. They are great
Straight
kids.
up.
And if they said that I raised them, I'd be like, thank you.
Right, I am their mom. My dad's brothers, they are my dad's in extension. My auntie Sonia, my auntie Lisa, I look at them as my mothers.
Facts.
Even though they're my aunts, they are motherly to me. It takes a village. I don't care whatever the case may be. There has to be outside influence from your house because I don't know everything. I haven't experienced everything.
That's relative to
Chubb
your
is
experience.
my younger cousin, Chev. I'm sorry, and I ask him stuff because I don't know.
That's
I'm
relative
I'm
to
going to raise these awesome kids, and I don't know everything. Come
That's
on,
going to say an extension of that, in that we are Ashley's children are my children.
But see,
Those
that's
children are my children.
Wait.
Alan is my son.
Like,
Wait.
who?
Wait. But
Alan.
I think that's
Alan.
something.
Like legit, like
And we have to acknowledge that.
And
But
the
I
fact,
wanna
hold on. And the fact of the matter that I am, show me further, because I already said that I am. I'm your mom. I don't care. Your mama here, but I'm here also. Call me mama number 2. Was when I was talking to this guy, having this nice conversation. He asked me if I had kids, and I was like, no. And one of Ashley's children tapped me on my leg, and she said, "Yes, you do." And I'm like, "No, I don't. Stop it. I'm not. No, I don't." And she was like, and she points to her and her sisters, and I'm like, "Yes, I do. Like they are legit mine."
Right. But I think that is relative to your experience. I think the she is being biased based on her experience, right?
Who
I
said
think that?
Kushina.
So watch this.
I agree with you. I agree with you, music director.
I happen to know the Oliver family personally. You guys are exceptional in that regard, almost to the point where even if you look at you all's pictures, you can't tell who belongs to who, because surely Leroy is Ronell's child, and surely Ashley belongs to Lisa, and surely Angela belongs to Nene. What I'm saying, right?
So, Angel belongs to Michael Ray.
Right, so right,
and Leroy belongs to Michael Ray also.
Right, that part.
Right.
Go ahead. Love you, Leroy.
But I want to say
you
this.
could, Chef. You could.
I want to say this though. I remember my mom died at 8. My aunt, who loved me and helped to raise me, you know what she told me when I was about 12? She said, "Hey, listen, I want to have a conversation with you and your brother." She said a mother would sell their body for their child. She said, "You and Willie don't have that anymore." I know my auntie loved me, but she was letting me know that there were limits to her love.
First of all,
wait. You're shaking. You're shaking your head, but that happened. So for me, I don't have the story where I see and see mother. So
that's
you have to
true.
Admit, okay.
That part is true. That part is true. Wait a minute.
That is my reality.
That is true. But you also say the Jordans were my family. The Rose were my family. My point is, this is my point, because I want to go back. My point is that you find
Minister
you
Rose.
will find family. You will find what you need. I remember I had pica. Where you crave things that are not food. When I was pregnant with my child,
I was gonna say, girl, don't tell all your business on here today.
No, it ain't that. I had
don't
pica.
tell all your business.
Hold on, I was eating.
You got your tuxedo.
That's eating baking soda by the spoonful.
It was weird.
I was carpet cleaner, and my doctor told me, because I'm like, something's wrong. My doctor said, "You're low in iron."
You were doing what with carpet cleaner?
Oh my gosh. Can you focus, please?
She
My
was.
doctor said your
She was.
body is seeking out the iron that it needs. So it's smelling it and finding where the iron is. My point is that if a man is raised by a woman, he will find the male role model that he needs.
Come on.
That's all I'm saying. You're going to find it, and that's going to help mold you in whatever way, whatever it does.
I
That
like that, Ashley.
period.
And let
If
me
you don't
say
have no
this.
daddy, eat on carpet cleaner. That's
And let
good.
me say this.
You
I
need
will
to
sell
you
my
need
body
to
for
say
my
something.
nieces.
Say what?
Get on
I
that
will
word.
sell my body to make sure my nieces have.
And
Ashley,
Chubb will sell his for
Straight
my
up.
daughters.
Straight up and down. No
hey,
questions asked.
Ashley, Ashley, didn't you just say Kennedy need a new book back? Let me call my god brother. Hey,
Whatever.
He couldn't even touch it.
I don't
Hey,
think that
hey,
He
get
couldn't
I,
even
close.
imagine
And
it.
what's
I,
his name?
I might not
Give him
sell. I might
my
not sell.
number so we can back
I
like
might not.
so
I
we can
might not
post up.
sell my body, but I
but
might
you'll sell
sell.
somebody else's.
No, I
Hello.
might. I might
Yep.
sell the mold of something to
Oh,
make sure
Hey!
this is last week's conversation. Pineapples.
and the week before that.
Pineapples. Pineapples. This is last
Look,
week's
come
conversation.
on now.
We become
Pineapples.
millionaires, baby, right? We become millionaires
Hey.
now. Get it on Amazon.
Pineapples.
Get it on the Zon.
Get it on the side,
Pineapples.
baby.
Pineapples. That one has been erased. We said 24 hours. This is
Right,
not.
Get it
right.
on Amazon.
Yeah,
Okay, just like
Leroy got about 15 molds over there he can get rid of.
Not Leroy. Not Leroy being
He got
solo.
about 15 molds he can get rid of. He can offload tonight.
Leroy being alone.
Get in the DM.
Can he take us? Hit him in his DM. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're for sale.
Ashley, to respond to something you said, I agree with the latter half of your what would you called it something in particular, and I don't want to say this wrong name, but essentially your monologue. You I agree with the latter half of that. What I don't agree with is it the way you're attempting to present it is fact, and it's not. We don't know. This is all a hypothesis, right? And we are all coming off of what I would be very interested in is, are there functional folks who have had no female influence, who have had, or sorry, who have had no male influence, who came from a single mother household until they were 18 to be functional men. Like, I would be curious in that. And we're all hypothesizing in what it can be.
You have to put somebody literally
No, but wait.
in solitary and
No,
confinement.
Well, I think there's an experiment out of this.
No,
I think
and
that's important.
I remember
You
there is
gonna
a TV
put
show.
Otto
the
in the
There
phone?
is a series called Hannah.
the question is not the question to me, Brandy, though, is not can a mom raise a productive, well-adjusted man without any male influence? Because male influence does not, because if that's the case, if that's the case, every single mom who has a son that does have a basketball coach should say, well, my son should never have any issues because his dad is not around, because he does have a basketball coach. Well, he did have a male 5th grade teacher. It's not about male influence. It's about having a father figure. We're talking about, can a woman
There's
raise
male influence in everything. We
I
live
see
in a
what you're saying.
misogynistic culture.
Yeah,
And that's not
exactly.
male.
So
That's not
so
male
that
Culture
influence.
today and the
Right,
system
because
today is built all on male influence.
okay, so
So
that
whether
means
or not
that's
there
there's
is
a
no
so that
difference.
means
There's a
means
difference. Just because
fathers,
you have a
that
male
means every
teacher
father
doesn't
should
mean he's
leave. Hold on,
influencing your
wait.
life.
That means every father should leave because, hey, guess what? The garbage man that says, hey, do good at school today,
You're being extreme.
that's
That's
male
not an
influence.
influence. That is saying, okay, I seen a guy. That I seen a man. An influence is someone who is imparting
Active.
something into your life, is guiding you, is saying, hey, this is what's right and what's wrong. Maybe you shouldn't, or even just living a good life in front of you in a consistent way.
Well, everybody has that then.
No,
Both ways.
everybody don't have that.
I think I
everyone
see.
does
But
Everybody
I think
Well,
I
then that goes
Yes,
to
sir.
my point. Then that goes to my point that
Exactly.
everybody that's successful is successful because they've had both sides. So
So
that
the
goes
ones
It
without
who
does go
are
to your point. That's the
successful,
beauty of a hypothesis.
perfect.
That it goes to your point. Yes, it absolutely goes to your point. But your
But I think I
your
understand
points,
what Chubby
your
is saying,
points.
right?
Yeah,
That the
go ahead, Leroy.
influence, that to say that we're not influenced by misogyny in our culture would be dishonest, right? Because
Brandy, are you okay?
is whether the influence is good or bad, right? There's still an influence. And I think that's what he's trying to say, that because we live in a world that is, that is misogynistic, that we can see, male influences around the world, in our culture, and we pick up on those influences, right? It's almost kind of like racism, right? Like, you know,
Ooh, speak
racism in the
speak on
of
it.
it of itself, you can see the influence of it, right, from other people, who may not have had families that are racist, but they see it, from the TV and stuff like that, and then they're influenced to hate based off of that, right? So so they may not have had that direct in their life influence, but because they were able to see it externally, from a distance, and it's always in their face, it does influence them, and it does influence thoughts.
See, I think that the key word in what you said is from a distance. I'm not saying from a distance. I've seen a star, but I've never had an experience with a star. I can see it from a distance. I've never been to space though. I think my perspective of space is different from someone who's actually been into space. So I think that it is proximity that I'm talking about. That you've had that person close to you in your life,
Chev
not
said that's
not that you
valid.
can see a concept.
Right? No, no, no. What I'm saying is, because when I
Thank
speak
you,
of
Chef.
distance, I am speaking of proximity. So we are speaking of the same thing.
No,
I'm not
you're
speaking
saying
of
male influence in the world or in
right,
society.
right.
That's
But
at
what
a
I'm saying,
distance.
no, no, that's not. It's in
It is.
proximity. It's no, it's
But
I'm
it's not actually
I'm
because
I'm, I'm
it
gonna say that
what
it's
he's
not
saying is it
because
also goes into because it is in the culture, it is directly into everything that's living and
whether it's
breathing.
on TV, if we talking about it's inside the home from TV,
That's
then
right
that's
into
a
you.
direct influence. That's not.
That's right
So
into
when I
you. Yeah.
so when I was using the word distance, I was using it in the terms of proximity, like it's close to us. The culture is what we actually live in. It actually influences us because we see it every single day. We live it,
Right,
whether it's through society, whether it's through Facebook, whether it's through TV. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all around us. It directly it has an impact on us.
right.
Right,
Brandy said
but
it
I think
earlier.
that
Brand,
that comment that just popped up that speaks more of the person than it does anything else. Because I know that
Right.
my mother grew up in a household where love was not shown, and she doesn't recall saying to her mother, "I love you," as growing up. And my mother said to herself, "When I have children, I'm not going to do this." But that was all she saw all her life, was
no, no, no,
abuse
no.
and not love.
That
Hold on, let me finish. Was abuse and not love. She made the decision to say, "I'm going to do it differently and better." So that for the comment that just came up, people who say, that made me a better man, that speaks more of them, like that they were able to elevate their minds to do that. And my the father of my children, he didn't grow up with his dad, and I remember him saying he learned how to be a father watching the Cosby Show.
But
And we
Ashley,
see how that turned out.
I
That part.
think
But I think he did
right.
a good job with what he
No,
had, but
but I
he
think
still
I,
had male influences in his life.
but I still think, Ashley, to your point, right? Your your mama house still had an influence on it, right? Which is the point that I'm trying to make. Like whether the influence was good or bad, it still had an influence in her life, right? Would you agree with that?
what? Uh,
What does that mean? Mom gets no credit. But what do you mean that it? Yes, it had an influence on her, on
but
where
Right.
she raised her children.
but
Yes.
but I have a question
Right.
though.
So that's what I'm saying. So for her choice to choose, to make a decision on how it influenced her and what she chose to do with that, right? Because my mom is totally different than your mom, right? And that same influence, yeah, oh yeah,
Oh
that
no.
same that same influence that your mama took and said, I'm not gonna do that. That wasn't the route that my mama took.
No, I think that let's back up though.
But hold on, wait.
My
I want to
mom,
say
hold on,
something.
wait. I want to touch on that. My mom also says there was a lady down the street who treated her children with love. And so she
Exactly.
did look at that. That was an influence for her. And I want
Exactly.
to say to your mom, about the way you say your mom, there's also a difference in that. My mom was raising 4 girls, your mom was raising 3 boys. Being soft was not an option in her
Okay,
house.
My
no,
mom
Wait,
was
no,
wait a
raising
minute.
a
no.
boy and a
Wait a
That's
minute
girl,
false.
though.
That's
and
But
false.
your
was
That's
the
false.
mom,
same
Hold on,
as
hold on, hold on.
but
was the same as
Leroy's
Leroy's mom.
mom, Leroy's mom,
I feel like I'm a
I
mediator and a
remember
family
because I
counselor.
was I used to come over the house. I remember very clearly that she did treat me differently than she treated y'all. She did lead with more love and softness because I think because I was a girl.
No, because
No,
you
But
weren't her child. She did the same
right,
thing to me.
right, cause right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, right.
I seen my mama lead with love with everybody else outside of the household and everybody that was in the household, whether it
Correct.
was whether it was male or female. So
Correct.
to
but
that point,
we
I
gotta
just
we gotta identify her mindset though, because she
Wait,
also
wait,
but
said
Ashley, wait,
she
hold
wait,
but
also
hold
Ashley. I
on,
In
don't
all
think you can.
fairness,
hold on, Ashley,
Auntie did say that
Ashley,
she felt she had to
right
be tougher on y'all. She did say that.
But I
because y'all
think
was
Because
it's
they
gonna
were
get
Mom was
big
not
boys.
because y'all were
that
gonna get
Because
soft
they
with
bigger
were
her.
than her.
boys. Because they
no
were
stop.
boys. And
Yes, she
because
said that.
wait,
She
hold
said
but
on, wait.
because
Can I say something
because
real
but time
she
quick?
out.
knew they would be
Wait,
bigger, they
wait,
would get
wait.
taller
Can I
than her. So
can
she
I
had
say
to
something?
have them fear her
Wait,
early.
wait,
And I
Ashley.
thought
Can
she
I
was
say
My
very
mom
hard
did
on
something?
the
y'all.
same thing as
Wait a minute. Hold
Auntie
on. I
Bunny.
just want to say
My mom
What
something.
did the same thing as Auntie Bunny.
Wait,
what
wait. I
she
want to
And she
say
told
had a
something.
boy and a
what
girl.
what she
Wait,
listen.
can I say something real quick,
Go
Hold
Leroy?
on,
Hold
let
on.
me say this real
Go
quick.
ahead, Jay.
Right, let
Wait,
me say this real quick. Give me
hold
one
on, hold on,
second.
Leroy. Leroy, please. Real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay.
I
Gerard is
think
off because
right,
this is about to
right.
be a thing.
Yeah,
Brandy, please
yeah,
mute him.
because I'm about to get out. I think what we should not do in this instance, just like you were the authority on your mom, Ashley and Brandy, you were on your mom. I think for us to try to come up and magically be the authority on how Leroy's mom responded to him, I think that's improper to even try to do.
Okay, mute him because
I'm
she
about
said
to.
out of her
Ain't
mouth.
nobody trying to
She
be
said
the
out of her
authority on his
mouth
mom.
with an
I'm
F.
simply saying,
Okay. I tried to help.
Out of her
Hey,
saying
mouth.
go
what
ahead,
she
Leroy.
said
Hey,
to me.
Leroy, go ahead so these people can tell you about why your mama
I'm
is the
simply
way she was.
saying what
Go
she
ahead.
said to me. I'm not telling him anything authoritatively or in dominance of what he's saying about his mom. I'll never know his mama like he know his mama. But what she said to me is all I said.
But it's
And
also
Right.
I said what I
contradictive.
said.
But it's also
And she said,
contradictive because people may say a certain thing, but also exhibit something different. And
Right.
I'm not. This is not a Bonnie tell all. But this is also she treated me differently than what she treated her boys, and I'm not a girl. And
Rose Chickasee. That's it.
what does that mean?
What?
Exactly.
who said that?
Go ahead, Leroy.
Auntie Bunny, she talked about that story when she had to whoop them about the girl. So that's anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I think
Moving on.
I think
Rose is
I
out there like, what I do?
I think even
Rose Chickasee.
I think for me,
Me?
that if that's what my mama told you, that's not what she told us. So
Oops.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I think sometimes people say things to protect you from who they are,
Right.
right? And
Hello.
none of us are exempt from that. As me, you, none of us
Yes.
are
Right.
really exempt from that. So, and I'm not here to talk negative about my mama because I love my mama to death. You know what I'm
Me
saying?
too.
Like, and but
Same.
I am just trying to
That's my
point
mom.
out that you know what I'm
A
saying,
lightning story.
like the influences to what we was talking about, how certain influences did impact her different than they did impact your mom, and the choices that were made
Mm.
That part.
were still based off of those influences that were in her life, in their
Leroy, I'm
lives.
with you when I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you when I'm with you. And then it also goes to the question I said of so the uh, Betty Joe raised 4 girls, Bernadette raised 3 boys, but Valerie raised a boy and a girl. And it was a totally different philosophy. And it's all a hypothesis of how folks feel like
If
they
you
are
say
raising.
hypothesis again tonight, I'm getting off of here.
they,
I
I'm
promise.
sorry,
You
Gerard.
got
My
one more
bad, my
time
bad,
to say
my bad. That
hypothesis.
was yeah, that was too many. That was 6. That was 6. But with that being said, it's folks. I think what parents are doing are trying to raise their children in the best light that they absolutely can, and also trying to fill a void in what they think is needed in their children's lives. It goes back to the point of, can women raise productive and well-adjusted men?
Thank you.
I believe that they can, because we talked about this misogynistic era and this misogynistic system that we live in. And if it was the other way around, if there was a matriarchal kind of system, then the question would be, well, can men raise productive women when the whole society is systemically all about femme power and all about these feminine things? And the answer would be yes, like, because that is the culture that is leading through it. And so I do think women can raise productive and well-adjusted men.
Let me say, this is going to be very controversial right
And
here.
have you
I do
defined
feel
well-adjusted?
that a woman
Right. We
can
have
raise a man, but a man cannot raise a woman.
We're
Hey,
about
can
to see, because when I get my daughter,
was
y'all gonna be real.
well-adjusted
Yo,
defined?
You're not gonna do it alone.
she'll take on be all up in that.
You're not gonna do it alone.
well.
Hey,
And,
She ain't gonna have no
and
kids in her house.
I
at that
heard
point.
I
She's gonna
heard
be
this
like, no
man
kids.
say I heard this man say recently that parents we take on the role of the creator. I created this person, so it's my job to make them into this. And if they fail, it's my fault. If they're successful, it's my fault. He said, but no, you're not the creator. You're the shepherd. Your job is to guide them through life to become who they're supposed to be. You're just supposed to protect them and guide them and cultivate them to being who they're supposed to be. And I think that we take on the creator mindset.
That's
Can a
good.
woman raise a man? No, your job is to shepherd them.
That's good.
Along the journey, you're gonna flow them to a man. You're gonna flow them to a woman. Our job is to just shepherd and guide them.
You know what, Ashley? You just preached in. I'm gone. Good night.
This is the
Well,
first
amen.
time.
I should have did that when we first started, then, Rod.
I
So
know
you
it would
better
have stopped. It would have stopped him real quick. I agree. That's the first time I agree with you tonight, and I appreciate. I also appreciate that perspective, because it puts me in check.
as a parent, it did. That's come
It
on.
really put me in check.
What's the difference between raising and shepherding?
No, creating
and shepherding.
God is the creator.
Yeah.
My job is to shepherd the sheep that He gave me, my children, and I got to point them back to Him. I'm not the creator of them.
Not creating their life, not creating their future.
I didn't create, right? I cannot create a destiny for them.
Right.
I can't do anything for them, but I can shepherd them and guide them. I can correct them, and I can nurture them along this journey and be there for them.
And their talents and their personalities will organically put them where they're supposed to be. I agree with that 110%.
Because if that's the case, my mom failed as a creator, because I am not what she wanted me to be.
Right. But she was successful as a shepherd. Exactly. She was successful as a shepherd because she didn't raise you alone. You spent many nights at our house. And that took that, and we can't say that this is a singular experience and it's not the same experience for everybody. But our parents did lean on each other. Hey, I'm tired. Can my child? I need a break. Let's get these girls out of here.
Without complaint.
Because I spent a lot of time at your.
Without complaint.
So, but that's a part of shepherding and guiding them and getting them to where they need to be. And I think that people, and the more we go on with society, the more people feel like they're on an island. These are my children. You can't tell them nothing. You can't correct them. And that's why we got teachers fighting these bad behind children.
And it takes pressure off the parent to be the shepherd and not the creator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a load off for me. It's not, no matter what happens with my children, pass or fail, I did my job as the shepherd.
As long as you shepherded them and guided
I shepherded them.
That's going to be somebody's sermon on Sunday. He's just getting you to write it for him.
I got to preach.
And what's her name? Tyresha, whatever.
Tasia.
We need some songs with it.
She getting a list down. She over there Googling. Shepherd songs.
She's actually suspended right now. She's actually suspended.
Y'all suspended together?
Right.
Hello.
Who that?
Oh, she over there.
That's Tasia. She right here. She at my house.
Not Tasia live tweeting right across the street.
Right. Well, she can.
Right. Right. Right.
But she
And
can
now
just stop and stand
Ashley
next
has
to
been
her.
now Ashley has been exposed as a fraud because when Tasia said something earlier, when she pointed at her and said, right,
I ain't
you
know my friend was gonna tell. I ain't know she was gonna put on there. But anyway, the point is that we all need my thing. Can a woman raise a man? Can a man raise a woman?
Yes.
Can a woman raise a woman? Can a man raise a
Yes.
man? My
Yes.
answer is no.
Yes.
you
You
can
need
guide them,
Yes.
outside influence. You
but you
need
can't
Yes.
other
create.
people to help you
Yes,
along the
they
way.
can.
We're not an
Yes,
island.
they can. But that wasn't the question. The question was, can a woman do blah 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 all these other things, and like the question was very simple. Now,
No,
with
the
your
answer is very
addendums,
simple.
there
No.
with your addendums, the answer is no. Thank
With
you.
your
But with
addendums.
the direct question, the
Yeah,
answer is
because
yes.
what I have a problem with is what it says. Can they raise a productive, well-adjusted man? So when we start thinking of productive, and how are we saying that a woman can't raise a man that's productive? I think we all can agree that a woman can raise a man that is productive. So when we talk about well-adjusted, what does that mean? Well-adjusted. How is
Right,
that
because I feel
defined?
Most
like nobody's well adjusted. We all got some
I
the
don't know. I
buzzword,
went to a
the
I'm pretty
buzzword
well
chiropractor
is
adjusted.
hold
I'm
on, the
I'm
a
I went
actually
to a
buzzword of
chiropractor
pretty well
2020.
last
We all
adjusted.
got
right.
some
I'm
trauma. Everybody got
Yeah,
trauma.
I'm pretty well adjusted though. I mean, it's because of that trauma why I'm adjusted. Oh, well
Exactly.
adjusted. Yeah. Uh,
pretty well adjusted,
yeah.
and right. That's just
I'm
emotional intelligence,
adjusting. How about that?
intellectual
We
intelligence.
can see, Mr. Carr.
Um, thank you, Jesus. Thank you,
Right.
Lord.
What happened
Hallelujah.
to car? Because you could
Right.
be walking on, had no sitting on your bicycle.
A
No, he
man
said
say,
thank you, Lord, because he wanted to say something else.
a man said,
And
a
I
man,
just finished it for him.
Pastor
a
almost
man
cussed me
said,
out.
ugly walk is better than somebody said, an ugly car is better than a pretty walk.
I said that. You always biting.
Did
Ooh,
you say that?
not you stealing. Not
Yeah,
you.
you
Not you
still he
being
do
raised
that.
by a woman just now.
Okay, listen, listen,
Well
listen.
adjusted.
What about this one?
Well, if you
I heard another person say, four wheels is better than two heels. Hello.
Ooh,
you need
I
to
don't care
log
what.
off. It's getting late. Good night. You're
Right,
off.
we all need to log off. I appreciate all y'all. Is there anything that anybody want? Is there anything that anybody want? We'll start with you, Jay. You want to add something? You want to say anything? What's
I
going on
think
in
these
life?
conversations are great. It was great to see Chad back tonight.
Right.
All the input was good. I think Ashley's story about a guiding versus creating is that's good
mm,
parenting. Period. I
mm,
think that's really good.
mm.
And I think Leroy doesn't get enough credit. One thing I like about Leroy, I want to say this, and I'm not going to take up too much time. Leroy is really big on what we can establish as opinion and fact and keeping people clear of opinion. And I think that is very healthy in these kind of forums because opinion sometimes can.
Hypothesis.
Yeah.
What is that?
Good job, Leroy.
What did I miss?
Oh, I'm crying
Okay.
tears.
I
He
missed the
said,
same thing. I don't know.
Oh God.
Maybe it was a male thing. We missed it.
Right.
tell their hypothesis again.
Tim said,
Gotcha.
Maybe it is some things a man can got
Exactly.
to.
You're gonna cry. Are you finished?
I'm sorry. I'll go mute. Go to
Is there anything you are you finished talking? What you gonna say? All right. Doing my best, but not 100%. Any
Yeah, my stance is super strong, and I would love to see Koshina next time. Let's see your face, and we would love to hear your voice. Um, and but I would encourage everybody, no matter how you're raising your children, in a two-parent household, single-parent household, to remember that we're a community. And that getting them exposed to different opinions, different points of view, that's what makes the best well-adjusted person. If a child only fed one opinion and this hammered into them, they don't know how to deal with with things outside of their household. It's good to be able to formulate educated opinions. You have to go outside of your home, in my opinion, to help raise the best child possible, and to be able to talk about certain things, because your child, regardless of what we believe, is not going to go to us for everything. They're not going to believe everything we say, because they're going to see something different. They say, well, I like this, or I like, and they want to be able to have that conversation. So we're not an island. Humanity, we need each other. There's a song that says, I need you to survive. And we need each other. And I appreciate, lastly, because I'm gonna wrap it up, I appreciate Chev. I appreciate Leroy, Brandy, Sensuela, Lolita, my dad, all of those touch points outside of my house that have guided my children to be who they are. When my children got into this program, this education program, I invited all of those pillars in their life, because I did not get them there. They did not get themselves there. It was all of these people who poured into their lives and who encouraged them along the way or corrected them. Sometimes you got to say, no, you didn't do good. All of those people played a role. And I pray, God, that my children, if I should leave this earth, that they will know they are who they are because of all of the players on the chess piece. It was not just one person that gave them everything. It wasn't just me and their dad. I said two people. It took a lot of collective different viewpoints to get them where they will be.
And that they know that they have someone to not replace, but to lean on. Like some people are lost when they lose someone or when someone leaves their life, but they know that they have someone or some ones that they can go to. Uh, Leroy, would you like to say something?
Yeah, can you call me by my show name?
I'm sorry, the
The
realist.
realest. The realest.
I had to come back.
The realist. Keep it. What do you say? Keep it at 100. No, what do you say? Something about a real G. Keeping it G.
Yeah,
We can't call it
yeah,
by a show name.
My bad.
yeah,
My
yeah,
bad.
yeah. Yeah, no, I ain't got nothing to say. It's always a good pleasure being on here with y'all, man. I love y'all. I appreciate the impact y'all have in my life, and you know what I'm saying. I hope to see y'all next week too.
All right, the realist. We still need to work out, but we'll talk about that later. Um, shut up. Yay.
Thank you. I have three quick things to say.
Oh,
First thing is, Brandy, the I feel like I said every time, and y'all know it's coming.
no.
This was like one of the
It
best
just gets
ones.
better and better.
It's just so good. It's just
But I'll
so
take it.
intentional,
Thank
and
you.
it's so important to, I think, for our community to have these types of conversations and be so candid about it, and to be able to have the platform with five clearly different perspectives. And what I realized at the end of the day, we still align. We still align, and like the perspectives are important in shaping who we, not just who we are, but the people that hear this or listen to this, or might be in the same room with us with the headband on and still tweeting on Facebook, or still making a message on Facebook. Like it's just important to have this space. So Brandy, thanks for continuously. It's been 3 years now. Like you like being consistent in this, and it's really I really appreciate it, and nudging me to get on it. It was a hard day today. I was not going to, and this made my day far better.
Oh, good.
Um, the second thing I would say is, Ashley, thank you for speaking such existence into something I think I needed to hear. I think not just parents need to hear it. I think people in general who are mentors, who are aunts, who are uncles, who are big cousins. Like we are here to shepherd folks. We didn't create them. Even if we felt like we created them, we did create them, but we're still, even if we created them, we did not shepherd them. We're not the ultimate creator of them. We're the shepherds of who they need to be. And we can do everything that we can. We're the tutors. we can do what we want, and try to do what we want. And my mom is an example. She tried to create me to be an architect, and I am very far from that. But she's still proud of who she at least realized that she's shepherd, right? Be ye, be ye shepherds. um, and the last thing I would say is I I want to be clear that the question for me was very direct and
Mm-hmm.
very in impactful and intense. And I stand on what I said on the question. Women can raise productive and well-adjusted men. That is period, point blank for me. What it can be, because being a man raised in a single woman household, I feel like I am well-adjusted and productive. Um, and I probably won't say this often. I'm gonna say it now, and I'm gonna say it tonight. I do think it's important. Ashley, you were right. That's what I would probably say often. Ashley, you were right on, but there's an and to that, and there's more to that. It has to make sense, and we have to look at the full equation. We have to look at the full the problem that we're trying to solve. If we're talking about a math problem, and there's so many additions to that, and it takes a village. It takes this whole ecosystem to create whatever productive, and adjusted, whatever that is. And I'm proud to be a part of your daughter's village, and I'm proud that you are part of my son's as well. All of y'all.
Wonderful. And I'll wrap it up by saying I agree. I do feel a woman can raise a productive and well adjusted man. But just like the iron pull that Ashley was seeking during pregnancy, there's a male pull in a male child, and there's a feminine pull in a female child. I agree. And when Ash, I'm sorry, let me make sure give her show name, doing my best, said it takes the community to raise these children. Don't, it's not an intra-group thing, it is intergroup between black, white. It takes everyone to raise these children. We can't isolate and not give them understanding of other cultures. Also I will add, if you're a single parent, like doing it best also said, she just gave a bunch of nuggets. If y'all didn't get them, rewatch the show, but she gave a lot of nuggets. If you are a single parent, then it is your job to find people who you believe are good influences, who are going to help guide, who are going to help motivate, who are going to help encourage and build the minds of your children. You saying that I don't have a man, they don't have a father in their lives, there's no excuse for you not to find someone that is a male influence that can help your son understand who he is and who he is, who he will become.
Can I say something? And so that right now, before you, so that way you get last word. I think it's also dangerous when we say I can do it myself.
Right.
I can do it myself. I can make him this. It's dangerous
I don't
because
need
you're
this,
putting
this, this.
yourself in a high position. And the Bible says, think not more highly of yourself than you ought to. But I say it's dangerous for several ways. But one of the ways, because I'm very, and Brandon like to hear me say this, but I'm a
Down.
realist. I'm sorry.
Talking to Blackshear. Go ahead.
I'm a realist in my life, and I understand that life doesn't last always. If you don't have people that can carry on after you're gone because you're so focused on I could do this, you're a detriment to that child. Because if you don't make it, that child needs to have somebody they could go to. So I think that that's another important reason to make a village, to have somebody. I pray God I do live till my girls are old. But if I don't, I believe they'll call Chubb. I believe they'll call Leroy. I believe they'll call my sisters. And they won't feel alone in life because I've set up a community for them.
If y'all don't understand, if y'all don't understand the meaning of this, I hate you.
I'm trying to figure out who said I just did. You
Me
gotta
too.
go.
I hate you, dude. You need to stop. But that's real, cause he write, he produced, yeah. Stop, man. Look, agreed.
So true. Put
My goodness.
that back up.
And I will finish. Why? Why was I born into this family? Anyway, now he could have just said this. He could have just said this, but no. The guy with the white, with the one with the laughing, covered his mouth right now, wrote this comment, y'all. Anyway, I'm gonna end this by saying, I love y'all, man. Like y'all stupid. Okay, I'm gonna end this by saying it's great, Chef. It's great because of y'all. This show would not be great if it weren't for all the people that comment and for y'all that are on here. If it was just me talking about myself, this would be the most boring show ever in life, and I too would not watch. So thank you all for being a part of this and making it grow into what it is. Like my highlight of today's great information, but the back and forth today, like that I'm gonna say what I have to say. It was great. I loved it. Like it was just real life. And also I learned today that women, we are amazing because if anybody noticed, Chev was talking, Jay was talking, I'm sorry, Chev, man, and doing my best for talking. And the only person that did not repeat themselves and try to start from the beginning was doing my best. When she kept talking and saying her point, the other was like, "Well, but let me get this," and then I go to, and then what? Then I go to the. So, y'all, period. That's it. Thank y'all again for making this show wonderful. This is what I deal with. Oh, Edge, put together a game night, man. I know you said you're gonna do it, but let's do this. Let's do this.
Shout out to the realest.
The real, I'm sorry.
Did you just shout out yourself? There's no shouting out yourself.
He did.
And then how you shout out yourself with a name like the realest?
First of all, I included you when I, but you weren't talking when everybody was. Thank y'all for being here. The realist.
And shout out to man too. Man was really on his stuff tonight.
Right, man got emotional today, y'all. But we love you for it. Oh, Muffin, no.
Oh, shout out to Jay. It was Jay's first time on the night too. Your bird.
Oh,
He has a bird. Y'all pray for my sister.
she's doing so good. I was trying to do Pilates today, and this having I could done hopped all the way over.
Have you clipped her wings so she can't fly away yet?
No, I'm not clipping her wings. I want her to fly away.
Oh.
Find your mama.
Back to the topic.
And you see, that's
Right.
why we need women in our lives,
because I done broke the poor bird wings, and I'm warming up canola oil. I got canola oil
Hey,
on
don't do that. That ain't
and
no
smoked
sir.
paprika.
Watch yourself. He's not gonna cook you. He like what? So anywho, yes, thank you for joining. This is the longest one we had.
Hey, Chef,
Gotta.
where are the tickets to the gun show?
Oh,
He's just mad because he ain't on stage. He just mad because they ain't invite the man. He ain't on stage.
I almost thank you for
The way he drew back.
Brandy, I'm so done with you. I'm about to text you right now.
My phone is right here, boo. Right here. Do what you must.
You are
Again.
so.
Oh, thank you all for joining. I thank you.
Right, Quashina. Thank you. That was nice.
You need to, like she said, you, Tasia, Danielle, y'all need to Darian made a comment that we did not get back to, but it's okay.
And the person that texts you,
George, y'all need to like legit come on and engage in the conversation, and let's just make it. Thank you all. You guys do just make this great. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much.
it was fun.
So have a good night. Be wonderful. See you next week. Oh, okay. Later. So again, thank you all for joining tonight. It did go longer than expected, but I feel like it was worth it. I trust it was worth it. And it's on you now. Do you feel that a mom can raise her son to be a productive, well-adjusted man without a male in the house, in case y'all want to be specific, and vice versa for a man and his daughter? See you all next week. Thank you again.